This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome to the XNC Podcast. I am Colteastwood, and I'm here with Middle-Aged Game Guy. Welcome back to the fold. How have you been? Wait, there's no audio on you. What in the heck? Let me change that. I was like, I should check. Hold on, the cameras will go wonky for a second. That's so funny. Like, I usually do this before, so they're probably just hearing me. Let me see. Input device. Yes, that's normal. Okay, hold on a second. We'll get it. That's so weird. Why wouldn't you be on here? He's singing some hello. That's really strange. Oh, really? Yeah, I'll watch because like there's nothing. Yeah, they said I can hear you, but there's nothing on OBS showing me that you're going. So, yeah, are we good? Yeah, I'll just watch the chat for a second because it takes a second. Moose goes amateurs. Yeah, that's so weird. Like and I'm looking at the internet's a little dodgy today. Let me see. Yeah, keep talking, Meg, and we'll make sure we're there. I hear Cole only. Okay, that is super weird. I don't know why. I'll just change the properties on Discord, and it's set to default. I think it needs to be set to this, and I'll hit OK. All right, say something. No, you're not there. No, because if I can hear you, then it should work just fine. Trying to figure out. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. I'm going to unplug one thing. Hang on. All right, talk again. I don't see anything. Love it. Just love it. You know, months ago, I would have been really frustrated. But now I am trying to figure it out. Give me 1 second here. Properties. That's so weird that it should just work. Yeah. I mean, what I can do is I can bring in your audio again. Let me try adding an audio source. Audio output, I think is what it's called. And then I'll just call it Mag. He's just going to mime. I think. All right, Mag, say something. Great. It's not working. All right. Let me remove that. Wait, how do I delete that? Like this. So, welcome to the show. I am so surprised by this, and no, we are going to talk about Hellblade. Stay with for just a second. I am so surprised that the Discord audio is not working. If I look at properties, it said default, and I've never seen it say that before. What I could try closing. I don't know. I'm going to look on Discord again and make sure. Stand by as I go to my settings, and you'll see this part of it on screen. Yeah, he's not on mute. I can hear him and everything. So yeah, I will. Let's see. That's output device. That's for me. Okay. Oh, I wish he was here because I just switched something. All right. So Yeah. Space Dove says it's probably a sign. Today we're going to talk about Hellblade, and let me refresh this so hopefully you can see. I'm just looking at all of the settings here. Super weird that this is a problem, but it's been kind of a day, and I actually realized I didn't even update the bottom bar, so that will not be reflective of what we're talking about. But yes, we're going to talk about Hellblade 2 and some of the stuff around it, because it's been kind of a problem. Mag, you back? All right, say something.
Yeah. I'm back. Can you hear anything?
Okay, let me look and see. Say something again.
Say something again.
Yep, that's it. So there's two versions of these earbuds that I use. Randall Thor is a fraud. We don't need the notes anymore. Yeah, there's two versions of this earpiece that I use, and that's Discord. I really apologize. So let's start over. Hi, I'm Colteastwood. Welcome to the XC Podcast. This is episode 150, and I'm here with my co-host, middle-aged game guy who has a mic, and I figured out how to turn it on. How have you been? What's been going on this week?
You know what? We've been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of gaming, a lot of. I think so the people in the chat. Some people are like, "Tell Mag to leave and come back." It was not me. It was sitting here the whole time. There was just a setting that had to be changed on the other end. So it's all good. We're here to talk about stuff. We did the show a day late on purpose because we had a conversation yesterday, and we thought to ourselves, why the hell are we going to do a show when the embargo is literally hours after the show? Mm-hmm. Like, what the hell are we going to talk about? Because we can't talk about the game, right? So it's like, well, why don't we just do the show the next day, and then we can actually talk about the game? Because let's face it, that's what everybody wants to hear. And there's no point listening to us yap on about it 7 days from now when the story is, you know what I mean, moved on to something else.
I would not want to talk about this in the following Monday. And
no, so it made no sense. Yeah.
So I've got some footage that will kind of crank along as we talk here. Everybody welcome. We got Udana Kizada and Happy Bomb. Thank you for being here and being the moderators and making sure everything is nice and smooth. We appreciate everybody for waiting for us to get things in order. Normally, I just like to blame technology. The technology it's Discord's problem. Almost every time Discord's just like, So yeah, let's talk about. I'm going to make sure that this is all live and up so you can see. I've got what you're going to see for a lot of the show today. While Meg and I do the show, is I put together the promo footage of Hellblade, and then I have some gameplay I've recorded, which is in the first part of the game that you can kind of watch as we talk about Hellblade. And I talked to Mag just before we went up live, and I asked him have he had a chance to play the game. And you said,
yes, almost done. So I'm right there, but we're not gonna. One thing we're gonna talk about tonight is I understand. We all know it's a short game. Yeah. We're still not gonna get into spoilers for people who haven't touched the game or just got home from work or whatever the case may be. People are busy with family and lives. And I spoke to a couple people already on Xbox, and I spoke to some other people just in DMs on Twitter, whatever else, and people getting a hold of me saying, hey, Mag, I haven't started the game yet, but I plan on doing it tonight or tomorrow. We are going to obviously be respectful of that. We're not going to be like some of those YouTube channels that 7.8 seconds after a movie comes out in a theater, they're all like, spoiler cast. And I'm like, what? I'm like, The movie came out 4 or 5 seconds ago, man. What the hell are you talking about, spoiler cast? But that's because they saw it a week before, right?
Here's the other thing about
silly. That's silly.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I gotta get this pop out thing here. Here's the other part about the spoiler stuff. Like there've been 11 promo trailers from Ninja Theory that have basically shown you most everywhere you'll be in the game. There's glimpses of that, so you'll see some of that in some of my gameplay, but it's nothing that you haven't seen from promos. And mostly what I recorded was combat sequences and maybe some light puzzle stuff. But as far as the story stuff that happens is in real-time cutscenes and things and dialogue and none of that. Well, we're not going to talk about any of that. And to be honest, a lot of the story is kind of over my head because there's a lot of stuff that is not retained enough for Mag and I to even spoil it. And Mag, you said you're quite a ways through it. And you've almost finished it. So
no, I'm almost done. Yeah. So but I see some people in the chat saying, good, thank you. We know some of us just got home from work, this and that, blah blah blah. And so, yeah, like I said, we're going to be respectful. We're not going to spoil the story. But we are going to talk about gameplay elements and things of that nature and mechanics and, like things that you could do in the game. Those aren't spoilers, like, like figuring out, like for me, for example, taking me half an hour to figure out that I can open a door because, I mean, laugh it up. But
yeah,
like,
I know what you mean.
There are no prompts.
There's
right?
no UI, no prompt, nothing telling you how to play the game.
Right.
Nothing tells you how to block. Like, it's just so organic. And actually, Meg, most of what we'll end up talking about today is the reception, the Metacritic, the discussion that's been going on, and we'll talk a little bit about the game. So if Meg's right, if you're worried about spoilers, a lot of the discussion we're going to be having today is some of the chemical reaction you're seeing with people who haven't played the game or people who have reviewed it and weren't happy and all that stuff. So I don't know. Before we do that, I'm going to do something I haven't done in a while. I'm going to read through the list while kind of Meg gets warmed up for the show of the people who are the channel members and Patreon veterans. Before we get into the show, I want to give people a chance to get in here and kind of get settled in. We really appreciate you being here and supporting what we do here on the XC podcast. Hit the like button if you're here. I promise a good time. Meg promises a good time. And very informative discussion, and we'll call everybody names. It'll be great. But I want to give a shout out to KY, Bob, Sass, Lupa, Jazzy, Newt Box, Hargit, Johnny, Jason Lawan, Lord Sinator, William Riggs, Farscape, Matt Houston, Zimic, Nelson, Bernal Vigil, Kings 5050, Happy Bomb, Decatron, Chick Surfer Trey, Armin LaRoche, channel members such as Matt Burns, Eugenic Kizada, Robert Jackson, Dante Muda, Betamax, Dark, I want to call him Dark CMF still, Septic Sauce, Zenner White, V Simcoe, Assassin, Dub, Raiden Blade, Risk It for the Biscuit, True 77, Micah Ford, Pen, Pineapple Pen, Trell Roberts, Meat Puppet, Red Wolf, Jedi J Golan, Rip and Highlander, Techno Caveman, Fire 71, That Blue Number, Kung Fu Hot Dogs, Shooter 2853, Tex Made 3, V Mac, B Martin, Sith Lord, Good Old Collingwood, Dead Times, KJ Wars 85, Darkwave Mortem, Lord Star Killer, X Series X01, Kings, Justin Duell, Biff Rinaldi, and Diz Guy 07. Thank you so much for being part of what we love to do here at X&C, Mag. Before we get into all of the Hellblade stuff, what were you playing before you got your gritty hands on Hellblade? What'd you do this weekend?
It was a long weekend here in Canada, the May 2-4 weekend, the Victoria Day weekend for us. Because we aren't heathen scum like you guys, we still are friends with our British overlords. Just kidding. Yes, it's all about Queen Victoria this weekend. So what we do is we drink a lot and blow up a whole lot of fireworks. That's basically it. So a whole lot of touching grass. However, in between all that, we were playing. Jesus Christ, I was playing AC Mirage, and I'm on the final. You want to call it a final boss? Is that even a thing? Like, I'm on the final assassination, essentially.
Oh, right. Yeah. The final target, we'll call it. Yeah.
The final target. So I've unlocked every single thing. I've done a bunch of miscellaneous, this, that, and the others. I'm just focusing on that final target. So I'm almost there, and then moving on to Dying Light 2. In between all that, obviously, I am almost finished Senua Saga. And that's basically it. That's all I was doing for the week, man. How about you? What's going on?
I spent the weekend finishing the game and then building the review and cranked that sucker out on Sunday afternoon. And everybody, thank you for checking out that review. I gave the game an 85 out of 100 and 8.5 out of 10. And I don't just pick a number. My friends get mad at me when I say this, but I base a game off of the presentation, graphics, and audio. That's one category. The other category is gameplay. Another category is story. And then the last one is replayability. And what I do is I rate those out of 10, how I feel. And then I try to come up with a number because I think some of those things might mean more things to others. Some people want a game that looks amazing and feels realistic. Some people may want a game that has so much gameplay like the way they love. And so I didn't break it down in the video, but I gave the gameplay a 7 or an 8, I think. I think it was a 7. Because I really liked the gameplay. So I wanted to ask Mag, since you were playing it, how'd you feel about the gameplay knowing, the other game?
Are we breaking down each section now?
We can. It's our show. We can tackle this however we want, but I figured that's pretty
might as well, yeah.
Pretty safe, I suppose, to talk about.
Yeah, let's break it down. So The gameplay, I could tell you right away. First of all, the overall score that I'm giving the game. Now, the thing is, like I said, I'm basically just walking into the final section, so there's not like it's going to be anything that's going to change my score. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10, and there are a couple of reasons why I did. Like basically, where it's sitting on Metacritic is pretty much how I feel.
Sure.
So it's not 10. Now, by the way, can I give everybody? This is just a word of advice. You don't have to take it, obviously. My word of advice when it comes to Metacritic, doesn't matter what game it is, whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, third party, do yourselves a favor. I'm going to look at the camera for this one. Do yourselves a favor. Ignore the first 10. Ignore the last 10. And what I mean by that is that the first 10, let's say it's an Xbox game, right?
Okay.
It's hard to take a website seriously when the name of the website is xboxismygod.com. And then they give like Redfall a 10 out of 10. They give every single game a 10 out of 10, right? Or it says, Phil Spencer's mybabydaddy.com. You can't trust those people because they give every game a 10. And when I look at the Metacritic, the first 10, because they go from highest to lowest, right? So when you look at those ones, don't trust them because they're full of crap. They're just there for an agenda. And then you get to the bottom 10, and those are the ones that are Xbox burned down my village and murdered all the women and children.
Or AKA Metro. Yeah.
.com. Sorry, I forgot the .com. Yeah. So Xbox murdered and pillaged and whatever my village. .com.
I think the first and last 10 is kind of extreme. Maybe the first few, but go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. So I go with 10 and 10. So
well, that's what Metacritic does for you, thankfully, but go ahead.
Right. So now when you get to that bottom 10, you got people that are going to be giving games 2s and 3s out of 10, whatever, most of it unjustified, except for Redfall. But that's a whole different thing. But, so ignore those. So what you want, the meat and potatoes is right in the middle, because that way you get the more level-headed reviews, right? When you start skipping all the 10s, and then you go down to like the 9s, the 8s, the 7s, and then you read those ones, and you're like, okay, they make valid points for both sides, right? So that's my little story about Metacritic, because it makes me giggle every time I go to Metacritic. Always read the first 10, and it's always like, the second coming of Christ came, and then delivered us this game or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then the last 2 is this game destroyed my life. I'm going to throw myself out the window. So anyways, gameplay. This game, I'm playing it on the Series X. It does not require 60 FPS. I'm a component of 60 FPS, like Starfield. I thought Starfield at 30, for me personally, was a travesty. I thought that game was unplayable at 30. This game doesn't require it because, and we did talk about it on this very show, that this game doesn't require that because it's a different experience. It's a different, not a narrative, but it's a different type of game that doesn't require the kind of movement, the kind of action that, you know what I mean? Like,
let me, can I jump in there? I got to jump in there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I always get mad when someone says this isn't the type of game that has to be 60. I would really honestly get mad at that. And then I played Hellblade 2, which fully emulates a true film camera cinematic experience. And in my review, Mag, I know you probably haven't had time to watch it because you said you were getting home and just loading up the game.
No, I watched it.
In my review, I said when I played it on PC, it felt like I was in True Motion Plus because I'm like, all of a sudden it removed the, oh my gosh, this is a real thing I'm watching in a theater and playing. It became, okay, it's back to video game land. And it's great at 60. Feels amazing. But then something's like kind of taken away there. And so I just want to interject because you're saying some games, it's okay if they're 30 frames. And I never really subscribed to that idea until this weekend.
Nor do I. This is the only exception, and I'm not making an exception because it's whatever, Hellblade or something.
Or an excuse.
There's no excuses with it. I put Starfield down and I said I may revisit it. Well, now my backlog is
it's way better. Starfield's way better now, but yeah, I mean you need to really want to play it.
Try to play Call of Duty at 30. You know what I'm saying? Like you're playing that first-person shooter, you're playing an action game, whatever. Gears of War. It's not the same situation. But this is a different situation. It doesn't require intuitive controls. You know what I mean? It doesn't require that smoothness, and you're still getting that smoothness because you're walking around, you're doing stuff. Yeah, you could jog a little bit here and there, but a lot of it is just it's an experience. It's a video game I mean, there's combat and things of that, things of that nature happening, whatever. But the majority of it is an experience. It's a visceral, visual, and emotional and mental experience is what it is. It didn't require 60 FPS for me. So this is the one exception where I say it's all right that it's at 30 on the Series X. I have no issues with that.
It pains me to say that, Mag. It pains me because I feel a little bit fraudulent, but I stand by the conviction that Ninja Theory did something we've never seen before. Where, I mean, you're watching right now. If you're watching live, you're seeing the cinematic capture from Ninja Theory like a year and a half ago. This giant chase, and this is all in 30 frames, and it looks like something you would see in a movie theater. But when you play it, it's like they did something special. They created a movie that you can actually control. Like, I was playing the game, my wife said, "Wait, were you doing that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was fighting those guys." And she said that looked like a cutscene. And she knows enough to see when you play games that, you can, there's a stark difference between what's under your control and what isn't. And the way they move the camera, and it works at 30 frames, and it's fantastic at 60. But
again, I had no issue with the 30 frames. There's a volcano scene with a lot of running and whatever else, and that felt incredibly good. It was fast. It was, you know what I mean? The controls were snappy enough that it wasn't an issue, because there's a couple of things you got to interact with as you're, doing it.
Jeez, I didn't even see that. Sorry. I just saw the giant pick up a body and eat it in half, and I don't even remember that when I played it on Friday.
Oh, it's the giant. The giants. Something else, man. Yeah, really creepy. Really enjoyed that. Now,
I'm sorry.
Couple things. What I didn't like, I'll tell you this. This is what did not set the tone for me. Is the beginning, first of all, I loved the introduction. You know how it has the recap of the first game, and it has the guy doing the narration. Loved that. By the way, it was really, really well done, really interesting. And I actually, even though I knew what was happening in the game, and I mean, the first game, I remember what happened in the first game, it was nice to get that recap, and it was done in a way that was entertaining, and it was engaging. I was just like, oh, I want to actually listen to what this guy's saying. Now, the funny thing is, the game, when you finally take control, I found the first 40 minutes was like, holy crap, can we get moving here? This game is only 5 hours plus. I mean, I just wasted 1/5 of it walking on the beach. So I'm just like, okay, it's a bit of a slog here. I've stumbled out of Hooters at 3 a.m. faster than she was walking on that beach. You know what I mean?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I know. But you know what I mean? I was just like, holy
I was kind of taking it in though. I don't normally have the patience, the maturity to take in all of the mass exposition and stuff. But I was kind of in the vibe this week while I was playing it, and I did not like the first game. I didn't even finish it. I got stuck in midway through 2 different times. I don't like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice at all. And I don't even want to go back. I'm like, maybe I'll go back and try it one more time. I really don't want to, but I did like this one a lot, and I just kept playing until I was done. A couple times I got lost. There was a couple of puzzles where I was like, are you kidding me? And then I'm like, oh, I didn't look down right there. There's a spot where I can hop down and continue through the puzzle, through a physical puzzle. So that stuff is there, which we won't get into talking about that, but there are puzzles, and then you wait for combat. So it's supposed to do this pacing of course you're going to walk a lot, right, Mag? You walk, but then if you've got the headphones on, I've got the A50s back here. You've got the headphones on, you're getting the 3D experience, and you're getting, you're hearing the story. And then on this side, you get Senua's optimistic side. And on this side, you get her pessimistic and angry side of her conscience, and it just kind of works its way around the back of your head. It's kind of cool.
Well, it's the binaural audio where you're getting the. It's basically like the ASMR stuff that you get on YouTube. You get the binaural audio, and that was really interesting. Now, I don't want to call them levels because they're not really levels per se. Is that as you move from section to section, I found section 2, 3, and 4 to be a hell of a lot more engaging, even though there was still walking, but I found it to be way more engaging than the opening. So I found the opening to be really, really weak. And for me, I understand it's setting up a story, but you also want to, you want to start with a bang and then sort of settle into the story, and then you could kind of take it down a bit. But
I like that. I like when games do that, but they did not here. Yeah.
Well, like in a Hollywood movie too, right? Usually the opening scene, first 20 minutes really sets the tone. You come in on a high note, you get everybody jazzed for the movie, everybody's engaged at that point. It's like the opening like of a James Bond movie. There's always an action sequence that starts the film, and then it dives into the meat and potatoes of the actual story.
That's good formula, bro. That's good formula.
Yeah, and like this started like a slog to me. And like there was one point where I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god." And then she's like, "Oh, we have to go over there. We have to go over there." And then I look over there and I'm like, "Oh my god, we have to walk all the way over there?" And then like, God forbid,
go over there and get slaughtered.
I'm like, "Can you run?
Do it, because you'll get killed." I don't want to.
Well, dude, it's like half a mile away, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god, do we have to walk?"
Well, it does fade out in a couple of spots, so it kind of like skips ahead in a kind of an organic way. And Nerds and Other Legends in the chat said something that I agree with. That in the beginning it was slower, but I was taking in like all of the, she's where she is and where she's going, and I found even the exposition early on, Mag, to differ from you, I found it way more engaging than I did with Senua's Sacrifice. Of course, Senua's Sacrifice, she's like, I got to take this head and go deliver it, and death is horrible, and death is so twisting and painful that I have to go into the bowels of hell to deal with it. Was very cool in the first game. Anyway, well, I felt very vulnerable too in the beginning. So, which you're seeing fair. Small pieces.
Well, I found like again like. When you get into like, I'm trying to be careful here, like what I'm trying, I don't want to spoil stories, but when you come into contact with a certain group of people, let's say around the 2 or 3 level mark, whatever you want to call it, and you're witnessing stuff that's happening or whatever, and you're still walking real slow, and you're doing whatever,
it was a hell of a lot.
Yeah, we're walking in. But it was a hell of a lot more interesting because there was something engaging happening while you were walking. And it wasn't just her talking. You were witnessing stuff and you were hearing the voices where she's like, help them, don't help them, this, that, whatever. Walk there, don't walk there. Just turn around and go home or whatever, right? And so that was still happening so I found that to be way more engaging, whereas the beginning, she's just kind of like walking on that beach going, where are we? What are we doing here? What's going on? What's happening? Where's my boat? You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, all right, I get it. And I understand you're not going to be engaged the entire time, but I found that the opening was weak. And that to me was like a half point right there where I was just like, you know what? I'm going to dock a half a point there, but if you stick with it, after about an hour or so, like let's go 45 minutes. Let's be a little generous. At about the 45-minute mark, then it really starts to pick up the story and whatever else. I'm also going to admit there's some couple parts of the story where I'm like, what the hell is happening? People are talking and you're like, what is happening? Like, I've had more clarity from a From Software game, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like, as convoluted as those games are with their stories. You watch the Shadow of the Erdtree trailer. I'm screaming in my car going, what is even happening? This is a nonsensical story written by a 3-year-old. Not Hellblade. I'm talking about, From Software games. They make no sense. They make
That's George R. Martin or whatever. He just like goes, and this looks pretty good.
He doesn't do much these days. He just writes an outline. He's like, here, put my name on it, slap it on. I'm going back to my wheelchair. I'm going to the buffet. You know what I mean? And so like that's whatever. But anyway,
I was watching this gameplay while you're talking, and the guy's standing off, and I go like this because I didn't know what the attack button was. It doesn't tell you, like you're saying earlier. It doesn't tell you what heavy attack or light attack. It doesn't tell you what parry is. And so I'm getting ready to block, and I don't know, I was doing some dance, but
dude, I got crushed.
I don't know how Meg, I don't know how long, like the opening shore sequence is maybe 15 minutes long, and then it puts enemies in front of you and makes you learn the combat, which you're seeing right now on the screen, and you kind of have to figure it out. How does this work, As video game veterans, we figured it out fairly quickly, but there was quite a bit of tension in the early parts that kept me engaged. So I wasn't prepared to dock points off until later on when I'm like, where's more of this or that, which we'll get into later on. But let's see. Jagger0718 says it tells you the controls right before it starts.
Well, yeah, there's a screen that shows you the controls.
Yeah, I don't read that
but,
crap. I don't read.
But it's funny, like, yeah, it was there. I did see it too, but I had to refer to it a few times because I was getting my ass kicked when I was doing a couple of fights, and I'm like, what is happening here? And so I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And it's funny because my instinct, because I've been playing Assassin's Creed, my instinct was to press left bumper
right
to parry, and I kept pressing left bumper, and I'm just getting my jugular just sliced over and over.
Well,
and
guess
like,
what?
Yeah,
Guess what, Mag?
happening?
I went into the controls and changed the parry to left bumper. I also toggled on and off the sprint and put it to the left stick, like most games. I also changed the dodge to B because I liked when a game telegraphs a unblockable attack with red, like a red sword or red. I move that to B. So I moved like 3 or 4 buttons in the opening hour, and the game felt way better. And of course, I'm sure it would have been fine if I got used to it, but. Yeah, everyone in the chat saying that they showed the controls at the beginning. Come on, I skip right past it. You don't need to tell me how to play a game. Like, it's how I am. But
Geek, calm down there. Jeez, he's like, Mag, bro, get good. I am good. I got no. Once I figured out what was going on, it was no problem. As for the, we might as well talk about the combat real quick.
Sure.
The combat, it was kind of scary because they're really in your face.
Yeah.
Right. So they're right there. I didn't like. There's a sequence where you're going to have to fight like 6 or 7 people, like not at once, but like one after another after another. I'm just like, okay, I get it. But after like the 4th or 5th, I'm like, okay, is this like a clown car? How many more guys am I going to deal with one-on-one here? But it was still engaging enough and interesting enough because you can actually see other things going on in the background while you're fighting that one person. So it did give you that vibe that there was more happening than just you and the one person. Yeah. And then everybody's like standing in line like they're waiting at the DMV to fight me next, right? And it's just like, is he dead? Okay, all right. Gunnarsson, it's your turn. You go in there. You know what I mean? So like instead of like 2 people attack, yeah, I'm just making up, Icelandic names.
It's weird that there wasn't like any organic combat. And you could expect that from seeing the trailers if you guys haven't played the game, but
play the first one. Like
play the first one. I want to reserve some of that discussion, but the game does do a really good job of chaining stuff together. So you're being like, once you kill somebody else is like, now I get to try and kill you. So some of the discussion I want to have, we'll dip back and forth between our impressions of the game. Some of the discussion I want to talk about today are kind of funny. Gamescast had a pretty big discussion about this, and it got fairly heated. You had Snowbike Mike there, Paris Lily, you had Greg Miller and Blessings Jr. I don't know his full name. They were, one half of the table was basically saying, how can Xbox continue to fail over and over? I also want to talk about Metacritic because the numbers don't lie. Hellblade 2 Senua Saga, or Senua Saga Hellblade 2, is really highly rated, and it's not a trash game. And 80 something, which is currently sitting at 82, is definitely not a trash game. We're going to talk into the nuance about that. But Meg, I want to kind of see, where are my topics here? I want to talk about, I'm sure you didn't watch this because I squeezed this into my time while I was getting ready today, where Snowbike Mike was basically defending Ninja Theory and Xbox on the behalf of a game that most of the people liked, but I'm not quite sure how to approach this, but the Xbox needs to deliver with Hellblade 2, or they can't prove that they should be in this space. Xbox can't put out a game without having a major asterisk or a caveat next to it. Meg, did you kind of dive into some of this Metacritic discussion and some of this discussion of the games media kind of saying Xbox fumbled yet again? Like, I don't know.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did. I think the game is great. I'm enjoying it. It is not the end of the world. There are some pretty toxic people out there that are not accepting any form of criticism, and those are toxic Xbox people. I don't associate with them anymore, which is funny because a lot of those people unfollowed me. So I looked at all of them. I'm like, I wonder if this clown still follows me, and I look and they don't. So, and they used to, right? But you can't even say anything like what I just said right now about the combat. The one-on-one thing. Yeah, okay, I cracked a joke about it. They'd be losing their minds telling me I need to be kicked off of YouTube and Twitter or whatever, right? For saying that. So I don't listen to those idiots. But the thing is, like, I did see all the what people are complaining about. The valid criticisms of the game that I've seen were valid. They were valid because they were the same criticisms I had. Minor, mind you, they're minor because not everything is perfect. I mean, I could find criticisms of Mona Lisa. You know what I mean? The Mona Lisa painting, I could say, well,
yeah, she doesn't have eyebrows like me.
Whatever. Yeah, or whatever, right? I could find some kind of fault in there too. I'm not saying that this is a Mona Lisa. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? That there are valid criticisms of the game. Now, as for Xbox fumbling, no. Now, the thing is, I think there's a deeper question that has to be asked. And the deeper question is this, and I already know the answer. I would love to know what the chat thinks, but and you, of course. Is this the game that's going to be their Iron Man to launch their MCU? And is this going to be the move the needle?
I mean,
is this the one that's going to do this and that? And I think the answer is no. And that's going to piss off a lot of people. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm looking at it objectively from a business way, whereas there's a couple reasons why. Allow me to explain here.
Okay.
I think that, first of all, it's a fantastic, like I said, fantastic game. I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed it, and whatever. You enjoyed it. We gave our scores. It's sitting pretty much exactly where I thought it was going to sit. Actually, I expected it to be a little bit higher on Metacritic, but my score matches Metacritic. So the thing is that, first of all, the short running time, that's not indicative of quality. Okay,
nope.
That's the first thing. Some of my favorite games out there, like for example, Little Nightmares. I know that's it's a AA game, whatever. But Little Nightmares 1 and 2, yeah, I guess you could say that. But those are some of my favorite games, and they could be finished in like 3-4 hours. And I adore those games. And this game, small, short, sweet. You get the experience in there. Whatever. Move on. Now, here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that it leaves the public mind share very quickly, because once people have played it, by Thursday or Friday, most of the Xbox community will play it and just move on.
Sure.
Because the replayability on a game like this is fairly low. Sure, you can go back and play the story, but it's not like, okay, Colt, you know what? Did you do the fishing village this week? Oh yeah, I went to the fishing village. I did this, that, and the other. And then you know what? I'm going to tackle a city whatever next week when I go into that section of the story or whatever. This is not what we're doing here, right? This is not a bigger game. It's not like a Ghost of Tsushima or a Grand Theft Auto or whatever, where you could say, yeah, I did this and this, and then I'm going to go do this. This is a one-shot deal.
Yeah, there are many games that you can easily say they're replayable. And that's where my score actually dropped, was from replayability. Like, I would not want to play this again immediately after or soon after. But Rand explained to me that there's this new narrative thing where you can have new narrators. And he said it really changed all the stuff you heard as you went and told different perspectives from these different characters that are in, along with Senua's internal monologue, right? And he sat in one. Well, Rand plays games like he can sit and play a game for 8 hours straight. I'm like 2 hours. I need to take a break and do something besides video game, right? So Rand said he sat on Sunday, I think it was Sunday. He spent the whole day replaying the game from the very beginning all the way to the end with the new narration. Absolutely loved it the second time, just like he did the first. Whole new experience for him in its own way. But for me, I'm like, maybe I could do that. And to be honest, guys and girls and everybody, you can start any game you like over, and after about an hour, you'll be like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm in. We'll have some footage later on today. I started a 10-year-old game that'll be very poignant to what we're talking about today. I'll have that to play on the footage when we finish talking about Hellblade. But replayability, it's one of the reasons I marked it down. We're going to kind of jump back and forth here, Mag, but I also marked down the story wasn't all that. The story wasn't like over the top where I was like, oh, I can't wait to find out what's happening next. Yeah, a lot of games don't do that in main story. And, I gave it I think I gave it a 7 for story. Story was good. Like, there was moments, like I had some moments. But, some games I'm like, I can't wait to see what happens next. And when you were talking earlier, Mag, about the 10 out of 10s, what a 10 out of 10 or a game that gets close to a 10 for you, because you can't wait to get back and play it. You're thinking about it. You can't wait to move and see what the next thing is. You're invested in all the cool stuff you're building up in your character. And those games, for you personally will push into the 9s and 10s category. And I really enjoyed Hellblade 2, but there's a lot of games I really enjoyed.
Well, again, I was going to say between you and I, you or even Rand, like you were talking about how Rand went and replayed or whatever. That's not the question. That's not what's like, we're not talking about us. Now what we're doing is we're pulling ourselves out of this equation and now looking at the people. How many of those people are going to go back and play it after they finished it? Very, very, very small amount of people. Therefore, what ends up happening is once they play it, they've experienced it. You know what? That's great. And I'll 100% be one of them. Because Hellblade 1, I played once. I remember the story, but I still watched the summary anyway. But, the Hellblade 2, same thing. One time and I'm done. And the thing is with that, again, because the game could theoretically be finished in one day, if you have the time to do it, you could sit down for a 5-hour stretch and just finish this thing. You'll talk about it for a day or two, and then that's going to be it. After about a week from now, it'll be spoken about very little, unless Xbox does like one of those, like they do like one of those, like in the announcements, were like, oh, we had like whatever 8 million people play the game and this and that. So they'll bring it back and it'll be like in the news for another half hour, and then it's going to go away. It's the same thing that if you look at something like, for example, I'm going to call it the Fallout effect, and the Fallout effect was. We spoke about it on this very show. I spoke to the producers that made the show, and we spoke about it, and they said the reason why they dropped it all in one shot is because they were unsure about it because they actually weren't comfortable and with the product. So they dropped it all in one shot. Now, in retrospect, now that people have really enjoyed the Fallout show, you can actually look and see that the show would have benefited on a week-to-week. You know why, Colt? Because next week would have been the season finale. We'd still be talking about Fallout right now. Right? So 2 months of hype would have kept building and building. But like I said, hindsight is 2020. Nobody thought that the show was going to be that great. And like I said, from when I saw it, when I spoke to the producers back in February, they weren't happy with it. They were like, well, we don't think it's really that great. And we're going to drop it all at once because they're not sure how it's going to do. Well, that bit them in the ass. But that's fine. The thing is, the Fallout season finale would have finished next week. We probably would have had an entire XNC just talking about the build-up up to the final episode of what's going to happen in Fallout, this and that. The chat would have gone in on it. It would have been a whole discussion.
Would that have worked? I wonder, because when I think back of the Fallout TV show, each episode I really enjoyed. So I would have been anxiously awaiting. But there are a couple shows that we watch that are weekly, and sometimes we'll get like 3 or 4 episodes behind. Because you wait a week and you're like, oh, and you move on to something else. Yeah.
Or you also want to build up so you can have a little bit of a marathon. You sit down with a big bowl of popcorn or whatever, and you want to watch 3-4 hours at a time. But I'm saying in terms of like the public interest, it'll still be in the spotlight of discussion. Whereas, again, the one thing that's going to be against this game, no matter how good it is that short running time, people are going to finish it and move on to something else. And then, therefore, it's no longer going to be in the mind share of discussion.
Sure, like Helldivers is really popular because people were continually playing it every week. And then once word of mouth goes out and Jerry goes and buys the game because his friends are playing it, then it just continues to build upon each other. And Fonz did the chat saying that Hellblade 2 won't move the needle, and who was it in the chat? It was like, what needle? I think it was 9 Lives. Like, what needle is it supposed to move? And he says sales, and I'm like, oh, I can move my desk a little bit. Like, I don't know. What were we expecting from sales from a game like Hellblade 1 or Hellblade 2?
I don't know, but I have a bone of contention with not with you or Fonz, with some people on Twitter that have really been pissing me off this week, and they're saying, go out and support the devs and go buy Hellblade. And I responded to every one of those people.
No,
I'm like,
it's on Game Pass.
I go, they told me to subscribe to Game Pass.
Yep.
And they're like, who? And I'm like, Phil Spencer. I'm
everyone.
And then this guy these people were actually being like, don't be a broke ass, this and that, whatever. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, dude, never mind. But I'm not going to get into the, I'm not here to flex or, whatever. But I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure we can afford to buy the games. It's not an issue. But I'm like, but they told us to subscribe to Game Pass.
I'm sorry, if you're on the Xbox platform, it doesn't matter how much the game costs. If it's on Game Pass, that's where you're supposed to play it.
That's where I'm playing it. And you have the option to buy it, sure. But don't spin this narrative of, oh, support the devs. Well, they should be supported by putting their games on Game Pass, because otherwise, why are they doing it? You know what I mean? What is,
let's jump into that discussion, because I'm sure that Hellblade's going to come back and forth. And yes, there are no spoilers. Whatever you're seeing on screen is ancillary, parts of the game that you would see anyway from the trailers, and it's there's no context. They're very short clips. Everything I recorded was 30-second record that bit, so yeah, there's no spoilers. Like I said, Mag's not going to talk about spoilers. I don't understand the story enough to even spoil it whatsoever. I put up my review at 6 a.m. this morning. I got up at 5:30 and sat here so I could be on the premiere, on the chat live with people, and the very first comment was someone saying, this happens, the game's 5 hours. And some a-hole wanted to spoil it for the 5 people that had logged in before gosh, people are...
There's always
I'll say this. Let me take a sip of Mountain Dew.
Stop drinking
Holy crap. Shut up, Mag. People are horrible. They're such... You know what, Mag? I'm not going to drink Mountain Dew anymore. Thank you for...
Drink water, you scumbag.
I've been drinking water all day. All right. I got to drink Mountain Dew.
Going to be spoiled. Oh, by the way, speaking of the fact that Fonz is in the chat, Fonz, I want you to listen up here. Everybody in the chat, there's between 500 and 600 people here floating around. Fonz's channel, This Mysterious World, has about 237 subscribers. There are almost 600 people here. I want every single one of you scumbags and all you people listening afterwards to go sub to that channel, and I'll tell you why. As a huge fan of Coast to Coast, growing up in the 90s and the 2000s with Art Bell, George Norrie, and all that stuff, this is the spiritual successor, no pun intended. This is the spiritual successor to that show. His format is excellent. His performance is excellent. It's almost ASMR in a way, the way that he does it and reads the emails and this and that, and the music, and down to the subject matter, the interviews. The last one he did with Wilmy Hood, by the way. By the way, Fonz, I want to speak to you. I want to talk to you. DM me anytime from tomorrow on. I want to talk to you about that show. Because I have something to contribute. Anyhow, go sub to it. It's fantastic. It's not gaming. It is so bloody good. I absolutely adore it. I've been telling everybody. I even told my parents to subscribe. I go, you guys got to listen to this guy. I go, this is the stuff I used to listen to in my car in the middle of the night when I was coming home from restaurants.
And it's very laid back. You can just sit and listen to the crazy stuff that people claim or they've experienced. And he's had some pretty cool guests on. He had somebody who is an expert in the EVP. That's a part of that part of that community. He's got somebody on in an upcoming that's going to have some really cool out of this world experiences to talk about.
This is the stuff you listen to. Yes, yeah. This is the kind of stuff you listen to when you got a fire going and all the lights out.
Yeah.
And you're just in the dark and you're just sitting there, or maybe by a campfire and you got a little radio sitting there and you're just sitting there having a drink and smoking a cigar and just in the dark and be like, whoa.
Oh, one night this
is the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
I've been doing this thing where I put one earbud in when I lay in bed and I'll listen to Joe Rogan or a guy who plays Fallout and stuff. And I was listening to Fawn's show and they were talking about the EVPs and I got so creeped out. I had to quickly not act scared so I wouldn't magnify it. And I'm like, I got to listen to something else before I go to sleep. So he does a really great job.
This Mysterious World, go sub to it right now and then come back to the show.
Somebody could put a link in the channel. Fonz could put it in there while we're getting stuff.
Everybody's on YouTube right now. Just type in This Mysterious World. You guys fingers broken? Do it now. Sorry.
Let me grab some chats. We got Udana Kazada. Thank you so much. He says, while they work this out, I just want to say, when we had the auto problems. He says, this is the best chat in the scene. Thanks for supporting the channel and interacting with me. Some boomer dude, he calls himself. That's Udana Kazada. You can follow him.
It is hands down the best chat in on YouTube. Okay, I can tell you this right now. Best chat on YouTube.
We appreciate you guys a lot. And there have been some weeks where I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I have it in me to do the show, if I can be energized enough, and you guys always make it worth it every time. Bionic Wolf says, good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for that. Illuminati with the $2 super says, I love that Game Pass games can beat Sony to AAA on Meta. I love that a Game Pass game beat Sony's. Oh, that's what he's talking about. Okay, so I'm sorry about that, Illuminati. I read that wrong. our good friend J-Rock posted a tweet today about an hour ago, Mag, that said that Rise of the Ronin, Stellar Blade, Foam Stars, and I'm missing one, Helldivers 2 were all outscored on Metacritic slightly by Hellblade 2.
Really?
But apparently the narrative is that Xbox didn't deliver. I think they could have delivered a lot more.
It's not that they didn't deliver. They did deliver. It's the question is not if they delivered. They did deliver. I believe they delivered.
Okay.
The question is it going to stick around and move the needle? Because I don't think they give a crap if it delivered or not. It's did it move the needle? Because Xbox is not calling the shots anymore.
Okay, so
that's my call. I say the bean counters don't give a crap. I almost said it.
I know.
By the way, the Xbox 2, by the way, those guys swear like I do in the kitchen. What the hell's that show all about? F-bombs
Hey, you know
all over
what?
the place. What happened? Rand has gone wild.
I took Jez's spot on Friday, and
yeah.
I don't do a good job on this show, but I think we had a pretty good show over there. And Cog was there. We had Lord Cognito, and
wow.
you get a little bit of personality in there to cover up Blandal Thor's personality, and you can have a good show. No, they do a great job. I love those guys.
Yeah. Cognito was the strawberry jam on the plain toast Thor. Yeah. So jazzed up that toast just a little bit.
And I was the
Cognito's
toaster. That was the best part.
He's a shinobi, man. He's smooth talking. He knows what's going on.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him next month. I want to. You brought up a perfect point about if you said Ninja Theory delivered a great game. Yes, they delivered a high game. Is it going to move the needle for sales? One of the issues that Greg Miller and his co-host had about Hellblade, gosh, I try not to say Helldivers and Hellblade interchangeably, that one of their problems with Hellblade 2 was that Xbox didn't push them to make a really great game or an even better game. And Snowbike Mike got really mad. He's like, which is it? Is it they're too hands off or they're too hands on? Like, you guys pick and choose. I'm adding some words into his mouth. Those guys, I'm just going to say, from me, that some of these guys in that narrative, they pick and choose when Xbox is either too hands on and too interruptive and disruptive, or they're too hands off and they don't get involved and get things fixed. That really drives me crazy, because my opinion is that I think that Matt Booty should have been over at the Cambridge studio for Ninja Theory many times saying, is this what you got? Just one sword, like just the same sword. Like, you don't find different swords. You're like, no, we want it to really be personal. Okay, I mean, does she have like a dagger or like a blade, another blade? No. Does she have like, I'm going to be a little bit crazy, Mag, okay? But just bear with me. We can bounce off of it. But does she have like a throwing knives or a crossbow or something? Like, can she dispatch enemies before they get to her? Does she have like some range combat you can mix in? Does she, can she jump off the high ropes and do an elbow drop? No, this is what we got. I think these are the things that Matt Booty should have been doing, because, people are getting mad at Fonz because he says the combat didn't evolve. Now, you've seen on the clips the mirror on her hip. Like, once you've been doing well in the combat, it rewards you with now you just get to take him down kind of in slow-mo, right? That's cool. How long it took me
to figure out that mirror? My God, I was just like, okay. Yeah, leave her hose, and I see what you said, scumbag.
I think that's one of the tutorials I did read. What did they say?
No, I don't even repeat it. But trust me, I know a hell of a lot more than you do. So, anyways, and Pong Solo, not Pong Soul, Pong Solo.
Pong Solo, different person, huh?
Yeah, you're a complete fraud. Carry on.
I mean, I've been getting that crap all day, Mag, where people were like, guess what, Mag? Guess what? They were saying to me,
kidding. I was just kidding. And then when you call them out, I was just kidding with you.
You can't take a joke.
No. You only got because you got caught because you didn't think this old guy.
My favorite is calm down, Colt. Calm down, Mag. Calm down. It's like, dude,
I am calm.
Okay, here's the best part. All right.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
Yeah, all right. Before this weekend, before the review, you know what everyone told me? I'm like, hey, I'm so fortunate. I'm reviewing Hellblade 2, and then like, oh, it's going to be a biased review. You're going to give it 10 out of 10. Paid review, paid shill, paid this. And then I give it an 85, which is really close to the 82. Crickets. Now it's like changed to, 20 FPS at 900p, 4-hour game. That's my favorite one. Now, all of a sudden, it's a 4-hour game. I think Rand said that if you beat the game, you get an option. Well, yes, he did say this. If you beat the game, you get an option to skip any cutscenes where you're not under control. And he says, I think then you could beat the game in like 3 or 4 hours. But yeah, this game took me 7 to 8 hours, and I didn't even find 70% of the collectibles. I was like, there's collectibles? To Rand, he's like, yeah, you kind of look off the beaten path, and you can find the runes or this thing that I had on the screen. I was like, I didn't even do that at all. And I was like, I would see I'm sorry, Mac.
No, go ahead.
I would see like a branching path, and I would walk around, and I'm like, oh, that didn't go anywhere. So, okay, I'll just go back. Let me walk back to where I was, or I'd look off to the left. Oh, there isn't really anything there, so I'll come back. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, but dude, she tells you. Did you not pay attention to that?
I didn't have the headphones on. No, I'm just kidding. No, what does she say? I'm just joking.
She tells you when you get near a collectible. By the way, this is something that's good for everybody here in the chat, for people who played it or haven't played it yet. By the way, I didn't say every game. Sorry, it's
about what? Every game about what?
No. Some guys like Meg was in Marlin Gaming chat saying all Xbox games are going to blah, blah. I never said all games, but yeah, okay. Anyways, yes, if you get close to a collectible, if you get close to one of the runes there, she actually tells you, and her voice says, "There's something over there."
Okay, yeah, I've heard that.
So I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I'm like, and I figured I brushed it off the first time, so I actually missed the first. No, sorry, I missed the second rune. The first one I found because it's unmissable. It's right in front of your face, right? So you walk into it. So the first rune, but the second rune I missed. But I heard her say it, and I thought she was just talking about, like the landscape that we were looking at or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. We're just looking at something really cool. Mm-hmm. And no, it's actually not that. And then I got to the third rune, and then she says, there's something over there. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is like the second or third time she said this. And I'm like, what is she talking about? And then when you turn towards the direction, she actually says, go over there and look. So she'll tell you, like, the voice is in her head. If you turn in that direction, and you're right, when you see like an off the beaten path area or whatever, if you actually turn the character ever so slightly towards there, one of the voices will say, take a look over there. And it's literally guiding you towards that collectible. So I'm like, oh, so let me just follow the voices, so to speak. And so just like Pong Solo, follow the voices, buddy, straight to the padded room. Anyways, so go to the you follow the off beaten path. Yeah. And then lo and behold, there's a rune, there's a collectible. So it's actually really cool in that respect. Where I'll give them that. I'll give them a lot of kudos on that. That they added that little detail in there of being able to organically find collectibles with just a little touch of help. Yeah. Really, really cool feature.
And her conscience kind of also guides you or encourages you if you're kind of heading the right way towards solving a puzzle. Which is pretty normal for video games. So without a game without UI or any button prompts, that's also pretty cool. But yeah, I did not realize, I think Rand said there was 20 collectibles, and I'm like, I know there's like 3 things I found. Yeah, something like that to get the 10 out of 10 on the achievements. Yeah. So, let's see. Dr. Dinglenut says, I wonder how Greg Miller felt about the first Hellblade. I think he said he really liked it. Kind of bouncing all over the place, but
no, it's fine. Listen, we're just here to talk. We're just here to talk about this, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, the discussion about did Xbox, Xbox didn't put hands on, and I was saying earlier before you were talking about that, was that Matt Booty should have been like, what else can we do? Like, what else can you guys do? This looks really great. Like, his job should be, oh my gosh, this is the best looking video game I've ever seen. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Let me see the combat. Can you guys kind of do a little more? Because in one, you had the parry and the dodge and the slash. Like, that's cool. Can you guys do a little more? Like, oh yeah, we have this mechanic. He's like, how about you push it? Is there something you could do in the open? Is there some organic or emergent gameplay? No. Can you do that? Like, that's what I want Xbox to do, and I feel like they're not doing that. Let me read this sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to ask you a question. Are you talking about like maybe when it came to combat to like literally maybe pull the camera back and open it so you've got an arena now. Like arena combat, so like you can move like a Assassin's Creed Valhalla style.
I mean, that would have been cool, but you and I really liked the really like claustrophobic. You felt like she's getting attacked over here. And,
I didn't like it. It scared me, actually. I was like, at first, the first one, I was like, okay, ho-hum. But then when I faced a couple of scarier people, it actually scared the crap out of me.
Because and it's meant to be very tensious and very...
They're literally in your face.
Yeah.
And you're just like, Jesus, get out of my face, dude. Like, you're scaring the crap out of me.
You kill somebody, and then one guy bumps off your shoulder, and you're rolling over them, and you have to get up off the ground, and they're bearing down on you. And it's not like most games when it comes to combat, and the way the camera moves, it's fantastic. And you saw that in the footage.
By the way, there is a funny thing. You know there's a guy you fight, the first boss. Okay, so let's calm down. There's no spoilers, nothing. I'm not going to say who it is or what it is. But there's actually a really funny moment where you fall down, and then he goes, "Why won't you stop?" And then literally the next sentence he goes, "Fight me." And I'm like,
"Oh, it's basically teaching you how to play the game." Yeah.
Yeah. But then it's like, and I'm sitting there talking to the screen. I'm like, "Didn't you just tell me to stop? But now you're asking me to fight you." And then I fell down again, and then he yells, "Stay down!" And then 4 seconds later, he goes, "Get up!" And I'm like, "Okay, dude, your contradictions are just driving me nuts. I don't know if it's my voices or me, but I'm getting upset." But it was actually really funny. I had a good laugh about that whole thing. Anyways, besides that, the combat was actually, I mean, like I said, it's very simplistic. Let's face it. It's 2 buttons. I mean, you could say that for any sword and sorcerer combat.
I mean, it's
like
4
light attack.
Light attack, heavy attack, parry, and dodge. But then you also come up to enemies that are more varied than the first game. I don't know if you guys saw. I'm not even gonna mention it in case you guys kind of saw it here or there in some of the clips. But yeah, a different enemy comes at you, and you're like, I don't think I can parry this guy. It's kind of what I'm thinking. It's not gonna tell me.
Yeah.
And then it's
that's the problem. It doesn't spoon feed you anything.
No,
because there's no prompts. There's no dead time. You're exactly right. He puts quotes. "I don't want to kill you. Fight me." But anyways, it doesn't give you anything. So you really are learning as you go, and it's pretty. I got to tell you, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the combat at first, but it's growing on me.
Yeah,
and it's pretty damn scary. Like I said, because they are literally like, and the other thing is the mocap, because they speak to you. It literally looks like a dude is standing there. It doesn't look like a video game NPC just coming at you going, and then you just cut him in half and then off you go. Like, they're talking to you. And when they talk to you and they get up in your face, you're like, Jesus, man, this is about, like, I'm assuming. I mean, I've never been in a lethal sword battle, but,
I will tell you that the reason why the combat looks so visceral and so real is because almost all of it, I would say, all of it is completely realistic except for the sword going through a body, right? Because they were actually hitting and knocking people around. When I was playing the game, knowing the research I did about the combat training that Melina did, and watching them roll on the padded mats and hit each other with the padded sticks. Like, the reason why that combat looks so good is they're actually smacking the crap out of each other, body checking, and there was times where they would grab Senua and pick her up and shake her and shove her to the ground. And I knew that they were actually doing that in the studio, and it comes across in the video game like realistic. So let me read this.
This is the best mocap since The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, it's really
good.
Like
Last of Us 2 and Hellblade 2 are the 2 best mocaps I've ever seen in terms of video games and NPCs. Because even when you're slitting someone's throat in Hellblade and in Last of Us 2, you literally see the panic in their eyes as they're looking left to right, figuring out what the hell just happened to them. Like, it scares the shoot out of me. I said shoot out of me. And I was just like, Jesus. Yeah, I was terrified of Last of Us 2, and Hellblade 2 has the exact same thing. It's like, it really is almost too realistic. And like when she I think Dr. Dinglenut said it in the chat. He goes, when you put that sword in someone in Hellblade, like, you almost feel it.
Like it's real.
It's like, like, you know what I mean? Like who the hell wants to get a sword through the collarbone? That sounds awful.
Oh, I know, right through here. I was just playing I was just playing Ghost of Tsushima the other night after I finished Hellblade on PS5, and that combat is so slicey and so razory and so sharp, like the sound and the blood splatter, and it looks awesome. But and
Sailor
you
Mercury, you
through.
take that back. You take that back, sir. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
No,
I'm all over the place
take that
today.
back, Sailor Mercury. I like him though. He's actually a nice guy. Unlike some other people, he's nice.
Nindo94, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Says not every game has to be a 10 out of 10. Well, I don't think any game is really a 10 out of 10. I would add to your comment, Meg. I would say take all of the 10s and all of the 4 and unders out of a regular game. Even giving Hellblade 2 a 5 is like, what agenda are you pushing?
It's not a 5. It's not a 5.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
There's either two things happening. That people are basing Hellblade 2 off of the merits of what Hellblade 1 was and accomplished. Or, as Randall Thor predicted, they're going to base it off the merits of Xbox and their current standing in the video game industry, their layoffs, their cuts, their attitude in the games industry, and like that they have so much to prove that they're under a harsh standard, which is part of the Xbox tax, which more and more sometimes I'm like, man, this Xbox tax may be real. Before I move to that, Meg, I was trying to say,
all right, go ahead. Yeah.
Let me get you. For some reason, the internet has been kind of dicey. So far, it's not buffering for anybody. I don't think. I hope not.
No. I've been watching the feed. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, it's dropping down to like red and yellow once in a while, but it's doing fine. So before I lose this train of thought, everyone is saying that this game took 7 years and it's a 4-hour game. This game is a AA game from a studio that in 2019. All right, everyone, I'm going to get close. I want you to pay attention, all right? In 2019, Ninja Theory built the trailer we saw at the Game Awards show in December of 2019. That trailer was also accompanied by them creating part of the Xbox Series X demo of it flying over the landscape and some of the other things they created for that trailer. Ninja Theory did not create the game. They said none of that was playable. It was all in Unreal Engine 5, all running on Xbox Series X. None of that actually went into the game at all. I don't think any of that segment we saw in 2019 was in the actual final game. And they said on, whose podcast were they on? I think it was Xbox Era. Darn it. Or it might've been Iron Lords. I think it was Iron Lords. I apologize. My point is in 2020, they started working on Hellblade 2. And in March of 2020, the entire world shut down for 2 years. All the way up until the spring or summer of 2022, Ninja Theory could do zero mocap, zero in-person work in Cambridge. So by all rights, and in my opinion, Ninja Theory worked on the game from most of 2022 to 2023 and launched it in 2024. So in all actuality, it took them about 3, maybe 4 years to make that game.
I was holding up the number 3 when you first started talking about it because they started in the first quarter 21. So this is literally a 3-year dev cycle. Now the thing is though, what I don't understand is what the hell is happening. It's none of my business, obviously, but what the hell was happening between 2019 and 2021? I understand, like you said, 2020 things shut down, but there was still almost a year there.
They were doing things like they had a small team working on photogrammetry scanning, like high quality scanning. They could scan a piece of leather and then put it in game and it looked identical. Like they were tinkering around and building up their tech to make the game. They were also working on Project Mara. I think what they were doing is just trying to stay busy and stay productive until they could actually get back into studio and go full hands on.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And I don't think that happened until at least 2021 or 2022.
I mean, like I said, it's 3 years.
Yeah, Google says, Landon. Yeah, Google says they started in 2020, but but they've talked about a lot where they did nothing during COVID. They couldn't do any of their mocap. And mocap, if you've played the game or watched closely, mocap makes up 80%. Yeah, I would say by all purposes, mocap makes up 100% of the game. The whole world is LiDAR scanned, photogrammetry scanned in and rendered in Unreal Engine 5. And then the outfits that those characters are wearing, Mag, they're not created in the computer. they're fully scanned and they're purposed into the game. They actually made those leather, they tied the string, everything is made there, and it is brought into the game and brought to life. And then they use the meta-human technology. Yeah, I mean, it's...
Can you guys just make a Heavenly Sword 2 for crying out loud?
Dude, are you ready for this? Mag,
Like,
are you ready?
I don't want
Are you ready?
Project Mara. Yeah, what?
Here we go. I don't want them to make... I mean, I've never played Heavenly Sword, but I would love for them to make something like this. Now, this is Enslaved Odyssey of the West. Came out in 2013, I think in the holiday or fall of 2013. This game is 11 years old, and it definitely shows its age. I played today for about 30 minutes. You're going to get about 20 plus minutes of this gameplay while we talk today. This is a blast from the past. Help me out, Mag. The fantastic guy who voices Gollum plays Monkey in this game. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. I'm a huge fan of Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis plays the main character. You've got this, he's got this scar on his back that looks like something right out of Hellblade. The character, I forgot her name, looks like something right out of Hellblade. This game, you're going to see awesome like Gen 7 era platforming, like Uncharted style platforming. You've got fantastic combat. You've got some ranged combat that you won't see in the opening segment, but Enslaved Odyssey of the West is an amazing single player campaign that spans a bunch of different areas, goes across America in a dystopian future that's overgrown. So yeah, this game is freaking awesome. We're going to watch this footage running at a up-res 4K on my PC. I bought the game for $2.55. So Mag, have you played this game?
Yes, way back when, yeah.
Yeah.
And well, wasn't this, you were just saying, wasn't this during the dark period where you were not gaming?
No,
or was that after?
This was
when was the dark ages for you?
2007 and 97 to 2007 was when I wasn't playing. Yeah, this was like I was in for years.
Okay. So it was already back of that. Okay.
This is like tail end of the 360 era.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No. I played this. But for anybody who didn't know, I saw Fonz was talking, but he's like, thank you, Mag. Heavenly Sword. Dead Time also mentioned that it might be the IP might be owned by Sony. If it is, Sony, can we get up off our butts and make a second game? I know it's not going to be the same as a Ninja Theory game, but like someone could work on it. But anyways, yes, it's Enslaved was a good game. I saw you posting something about it earlier. So
I posted a picture of it, because some guy said I was talking about how real Hellblade looks, and this guy said realism is usually the thing that gets the most dated or something like that. I'm like, come on, like there's no game that looks as real as Hellblade, and Hellblade looks so photorealistic, it's not going to be dated. Like, come on. I don't know, whatever. I thought that was so dumb. I'm like, that's not even a thing. Realism is something that gets dated. No, it's like sometimes the high quality cutting edge graphics can look dated, but you're talking like so Chris.
I didn't say it. It's just on the screen. Yeah.
You know, AI can read that now. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Sorry, I just flipped the page. There you go, Pierre David Moreau. That's for you, buddy.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
All right. Anyways,
I love that you have to resort to a spiral notebook to be a co-host on this show. It's really.
I had to point it out because the guy's here. Like we haven't heard from Soccer forever. He's been hiding in one of those Fallout shelters, and
he's been hiding in his PC, and then he made his Xbox video.
Yeah, I mean, Dealer's still in is it still in the Fallout shelter down there?
Oh yeah,
he's still there walking around dealing with those demon dogs. Going,
he's drinking Ensure.
What's going on? What's going on down there?
He's drinking Ensure in a bomb shelter. Yeah.
Don't you know who I am? I'm Dealer Gaming. I got demon dogs all around me in the shelter. Do not go to floor number.
Thank you very much from Dealer Gaming. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I told you. I told him that. I said you sound like the Elvis of YouTube, and then I think that hurt his feelings, and he never came back.
Dealer sounds like Hank Hill and Elvis had a baby. Oh, thank you very much, Bobby.
Well, I'll tell you something. Soccer. Tell you what. Yeah.
Welcome, I saw a clip where a guy goes, like it was a clip of Hank Hill's voice. He goes, "I'm about to go get myself a blast." And shout out to Randall Thor that calls it a Baja blast. I mean, English doesn't make it over there in Chicago, and I'm looking at you.
No. I mean, they don't even do pizza right.
No, they
Like, what
don't.
the hell is a deep dish pizza? It's a loaf of bread with some cheese and sauce on it. What kind of nonsense is that? That's not pizza.
Sounds like Barfaroni, bro. Nerds and Other Legends, thank you for the $5 super chat. They said, in my opinion, Hellblade 2 represents a mile marker for Xbox. It's a kickoff to a continuum of game releases that spills into the fall and on to 2025. Asterisks, hopefully, they said. Yeah, I mean, sure, it is. I mean, I said the same thing the other day on Twitter X. I said, once Hellblade comes out, it's just Xbox games. We're going to talk about that as well. Let me give you guys a dip into the topics here. We're going to talk about, I don't know which one to go with next, but Call of Duty's coming to Game Pass. That might be kind of where we will go in first, and there's going to be a bunch of games coming to Game Pass and Xbox via Activision and Blizzard, so we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows, which... why not? Let's dive fully into Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think people are really upset about Assassin's Creed Shadows. By the way, how's the Enslaved footage look there? Magalicious.
It looks it looks lovely. Yeah, I'm watching it on the second screen. So
I mean, it's dated as heck, isn't it?
No, but you know what though? Is it though?
I was smiling today. I was like this.
Let me tell you something. The only thing that looks dated is the movement in terms of the running, not the walking, the running. The running has that PS3 360 era look.
Yeah.
You know, when they go like this? The exaggerated arm and leg. Yeah, the exaggerated arm and leg movement. If it wasn't for that, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like this, right?
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for that, this game could have come out like a year ago.
What is it with Japanese or JRPG games where the characters run like this?
Very exaggerated arm and leg movements. Like I've seen Japanese people
like,
run.
Come on, let's go. We got to get the stone.
I've watched Japanese baseball. Okay, Ohtani doesn't run like that when he hits a home run. Okay, so
dude, Ohtani's a beast.
I know, but I mean, he doesn't run like this when he runs around the bags. So like he runs like a normal person. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But you're
running
not
for
wrong.
a deep dish pizza is what they're doing.
Yeah, Japanese games are very much like that. The only ones that aren't, because I consider them to be the most Americanized Japanese companies, Capcom. They mirror that Western developer look more than anybody. And I think they pretty much.
Can we just say, we got to say that when people compare the success of Capcom versus Square Enix, like it isn't really a true comparison because Capcom makes almost nothing but bangers, right?
Well, they almost went bankrupt before Resident Evil 7. So it's not like they weren't on the ropes.
What was that, like 10 years ago?
They were sucking ass for a while there. No, when did
8 years ago?
Yeah,
I'm tired from doing that anime run. I need to get in shape.
I was just getting warmed up. I was going to start doing chin-ups while you're talking. Anyways, yeah, right. The thing is, Resident Evil 7 brought them back. And they were on the verge of bankruptcy, and they were also on the verge of being bought out. And I think
I guess Street Fighter was not as big as it was last.
No,
gen.
Sony was talking to them about purchase, right? And that was going to be a thing. So what ended up happening is RE7 put them back on the map, and then of course, then it just tumbled one banger after another. And I think they've got I got to tell you, they probably got 10 or 11 bangers in a row now. I mean, they are literally a no miss studio at this point.
And that's not the case with
Monster
Square.
Hunter. No, Square, I told you last week, Square are a bunch of whores. They're just going to follow wherever the money is. They're going after the money. They don't care who it is. And the problem with that
they have to.
It's lack of consistency, though.
But it's a product of survival at this point, shaking hands with Phil Spencer of all people. Like, you're that desperate that you have to try and put your games on the Xbox platform. Joke. Right. But I mean, gosh,
Space
this game's fun.
Space
Dovahkiin.
Dovahkiin. No, sorry. I thought there was an L there. Space Dovahkiin. Let me tell you, he's right. The new RE engine is magical. It is just awesome. But anyways, yeah. So
you know what? To be honest, a lot of the engines right now are really magical. Unreal Engine 5 is doing some cool things and needs some work. I mean, there's good things coming. When I was playing this game, Enslaved Odyssey of the West, which is 11 years old, it's on Unreal Engine 3, I think, and I was like 10 years. Like, let's just say 10 years. Man, look at how far. Like when Andy Serkis climbed out and his hand went around, like it was just see sausage with like 2 textures on it, and or a few sausages, just for the people in the audio version of the podcast might have got excited about that. It was more than one sausage. Yeah, it was. We've come such a long way, but barring what engines can do and graphical improvements, I had a big smile on my face today when I was playing this. I go, dang, I'm going to put this up on the show. And
yeah, it's great game.
There's last with the big brain. Last with the big brain comment in the comment section says 7 years, 5 hours of walking. He must have just showed up because we absolutely destroyed his narrative during the show, and he missed it because he was playing with his boogers like the whole afternoon. And yeah, sorry, buddy.
That sounds like a fat person's exercise routine. 7 years, 5 hours of walking. Yeah.
No. 6 minute abs. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's right. The 6 minute abs. No, man. 6 minute abs.
No, man.
No, man.
Actually, it was 7 minutes abs. Yeah, because Ben Stiller goes, "What if somebody comes by and makes 6 minute abs?"
No, yeah, and he freaks out.
Man. He starts freaking out.
7 minute abs. That's right. Flipping minds. It's a sausage party, buddy.
Hey,
Sausage party.
Speaking of Harlan Williams, who plays that character,
I thought you were saying
I listened to
party, but yeah.
I listened to an excellent interview with Sebastian Maniscalco, which I hope you like this guy. I really like this guy.
I adore him. Yeah,
he's amazing. He was interviewing Dane Cook, and Dane Cook is major comeback. Like, people are loving him right now. And Dane Cook talked about like the back things that have been going on for a while, and like how he's kind of been coming back. And man, he was so funny, and they were just telling stories. And thank goodness for great comedians like Mag.
Dane Cook's yeah, of course. Yeah, Dane Cook's
people hated him pretty hard for a while.
Well, there was some plagiarism idea, things like that.
Sure.
He had his brother, who was his manager, ripped him off like $25 million. Both of his parents passed away like within months of each other. Like, and this all happened like at the same time, and like he just had a full crash. Yep. And man, Jesus, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I don't care if some people say like Louis C.K. had issue with him because he stole some of his jokes. Or he took some of his bits that he heard at a comedy club, this and that. I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, Eddie Murphy, I don't care what anybody says. Eddie Murphy became famous because he literally ripped off Richard Pryor.
I was going to say, yeah.
But he didn't rip off Richard Pryor because Richard Pryor says, if you can make money doing jokes like my jokes, he goes, go ahead and do them. He gave him full permission to do it. And he did. He literally just mimicked, like, if you watch those first two stand-ups, like Delirious and, what the hell's the other one?
Raw.
And Raw, excuse me. Sorry. So, Delirious and Raw, it was basically just a carbon copy of Richard Pryor. And so,
dang.
If you watch Richard Pryor, it's basically, you're like, this just sounds like Eddie Murphy. And you're like, you realize Eddie Murphy was just doing that.
Well, I mean, however, like I told you last week, I watched Rush Hour 1, and I used to love it so much, but it bothered me. Now it bothered me more than it used to, how much he ripped off Axel Foley's bit in that movie. And I'm like, well, at the time it was like, it was good because he had Jackie Chan there, and I loved Rush Hour. But when I rewatched it a couple weeks ago, I was like, that's really lame. Who was it in the chat that said, JTC Huge Package says Employee of the Month is still a funny movie. It's a fantastically funny movie.
No, he still has a lot of comedy in there. It's just, Anyways, the thing is, he got permission from Richard Pryor. So that was a little bit different because Louis C.K. said that Dane Cook was literally stealing material from him right off of his comedy shows. And so, they kind of went. And then, of course, Louis C.K. got screwed. But that was a whole other thing. That's anyway, we're not talking about that. Let's get back to gaming. What are we talking about?
Well,
what are we talking about?
We got Danny Passion official. Thank you for the $2 super. Says Hellblade 2 is exactly what a sequel should be. Well, I mean, I mostly agree. I mean, it's better than Hellblade 1 in many, many ways, but people are expecting after
we talked about that, Colt. We talked
5
about
years. Should have been more. There should have been more. And I said it in my review. They should have done more with combat. They should have done a little bit more in the open world and made a little more interactive. And then I don't know.
Dude, we talked about this.
You wore the same outfit the whole game. That I thought she was. It looked so much like the first one, and from some of the promo stuff, I thought she was going to have like this different outfit and have the red makeup on, and I don't know what. I don't know what.
You know what though? I warned everybody. I said, guys, don't think this is going to be a vast change from what we got the first time around. It's going to be the same thing. There's going to be improvements. Obviously, there's going to be quality of life improvements, like we talked about with combat and everything else. Obviously, the graphics, but the narrative, the storytelling, the gameplay loop, if you can call it a gameplay loop, is basically that's it. You're going to get the same thing that we got the first time around.
I mean, you should hope.
It just improved slightly.
Nine Lives says
it's not a grand departure. Like, you know what I mean? It's not going to be God of War 2018 versus God of War 3, right? Or whatever the last one was, Ascension.
Well, I mean, isn't that interesting
you know what I mean?
that you say that? Because God of War Ragnarok did everything that we love from 2018. Spider-Man 2 did everything we love from 2018.
It didn't hit as hard.
You know what?
Because
to be fair, God of War Ragnarok and the first one are scored around the same, aren't they? And so is Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is like an 85, and so Spider-Man 1, right?
Yeah, but that's like watching John Wick 1 and John Wick 2. John Wick 2, you're like, oh man, that was awesome. But you've already seen it. You saw John Wick 1. Die Hard, when it came out, no one had ever seen a movie like that. And it was like, it shook the world. When Die Hard 2 came out, everybody's like, all right, it's more of the same. So Ragnarok, even though it's excellent, Spider-Man 2, excellent, minus some of the story elements, because just a little bit over the, oh God. Can you imagine he's fighting? Can you imagine he's fighting criminals going, we need more gun control? And I'm like, is Peter Parker
rolling my eyes.
Oh, I'm sitting there going, is Peter Parker got a half-shaved head with pink hair on the other side and slightly overweight with a shirt with his belly sticking out the bottom? Because that's exactly what he sounds like right now. But anyways.
Here's the double standard, because I think we proved it pretty well that Hellblade 1 was an 81, Hellblade 2 is an 82. So by all rights, that should be exactly what you would expect. You know, you get a sequel that tries to do what the other one did and do it better, and it did. And those other sequels we mentioned from PlayStation, I mean, I could say the same thing across other platforms as well. You do a slightly better job, you get the same score a little better. I think some outlets dinged it really hard for not. Here's the double standards I'm trying to get at. I think people are being hypercritical right now because Hellblade 2 didn't push itself to the 90 Metacritic and make it as good as some of the best games that are out there. And so there was this unfair standardization that the game should be completely mind-blowingly and groundbreakingly fantastic. Now, I wanted Ninja Theory to do that. And I told people in videos like 2 years ago that it's probably going to be more open world. There'll be more things you can do, and maybe you can come back to your village, and you'll be more interactive with the world. And none of that happened. Sorry, Mag. Go ahead.
No, I just want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
My question is this. If Hellblade hit a 90, now I'm under the assumption, because this is my personal thought, okay, before everybody loses their minds. I'm not saying it's just fact. I don't think that this game is going to move the needle very much. It's going to for the Xbox community, obviously, and for the PC community playing the game. But in terms of growth, you might see a slight bump in Game Pass subs if people are interested in playing it, like let's say this month. But after you finish the 5 to 6 hour experience, I think that next month it's just going to go back down, because now we have now there's in Game Pass, there's no major games coming out to the fall. So now you've got another 6 months of cazzo. So, like, what ends up happening is at that point, well, 5 months. I would
say 4 months. 4 months. They probably have something like Avowed in September or Towerborn, but Towerborn's not big.
I forgot about Avowed. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. I mean,
Avowed might be in like October or November. I don't know, but I think there's probably something big in September.
I thought
there's 8 games.
Yeah. Because I was thinking Call of Duty and then Indiana Jones. I'm talking about big ones, like the big ones.
To your credit, of course, 4 months is another long. We just waited 8 months, and then there's going to be another 4 months. Yeah.
So now, my question to you is this: if it hit, let's say theoretically, it hit a 90 or a 91, or hit one of those Sony scores from like the PS4 era or whatever, do you think it would have moved the needle more, or do you think it would have just been more of the same in terms of engagement?
Ask me that again. Sorry.
I'm just saying, if the game hit like a 90, 91.
Oh, okay.
Do you think that it will get even more engagement than what
yes, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely. I'm going to tell you that it is a product of a sort of a sheep mentality, a lemming mentality. It's also part of like a zeitgeist or a popularity contest. And you and I cover this really well on the podcast, Mag, where we tell people when you get a game that's a 90 or 91 or even higher, right? If it's close to a 90, people are like, I wasn't interested before, now I'm getting the game. And that happens all the time. That people are like, how many people were like, oh, It Takes Two, man, I don't know. That looks kind of cool. And then the reviews come out and it's like a 91 or 92 and people are like,
well,
holy
then
crap.
it was
and
unavoidable.
everyone's talking about it because the game's so good. And it's not just the number. I'm not blaming the number. When a game is so good that every critic, reviewer, influencer, content creator, friend is saying, oh my gosh, It Takes Two is so good, that people are like, oh, I wasn't really going to buy it. Now I'm going to get it. And absolutely, to answer your question, instead of rambling for another 5 minutes, yes, if this game was a 90, let's just say 90, yes, it would move the needle because everyone would say, you got to get or you got to play Hellblade 2. But right now, audience, is everyone saying you got to play Hellblade 2? Right now, there are so many people's voices trying to say mid-game. I saw a couple of the chat. Xbox just keeps releasing mid-games. And I said this earlier today, Mag. If an 82 is a mid-game, I don't think I want to be in this community when it comes to reviews anymore because that's a standard I just can't. Haven't played? Wait, you did finish Dead Island 2, right?
I platinumed it, yes.
That's like a 76 meta or 74.
It was what it was.
I like that game more than Hellblade 2. And I don't think many people would say that's a must play. I thought that game was awesome. And I would score that game, a high 80s or even a 90 because I had almost zero complaints about it. It looked amazing. It was fun. I was invested. I just kept playing. I couldn't wait to get back in. So, I mean, reviews are reviews.
One of my top 5 games, in my top 5 games of last generation, one of them was Days Gone.
Yeah.
And that was rated at like, when it first came out, it's gone up since then because they
did like a 78 or something.
I don't even think it hit that high. I think it was like mid 70s, maybe even low 70s.
I made the mistake of reviewing it, a review impressions video before I was done because that last like 10 or 12 hours, I fell in love with the game even more. I really liked it. So I think I gave the game an 82 after I was done. I really enjoyed it. So
So Viper XT is absolutely right. He goes, look what a high score did for Elden Ring. Yeah, he's not wrong there either.
Yep.
Because then what ended up happening is, once again, like I say, that what wins a war, what wins a battle, what wins a war is the mind share. The mind share. When I used to do primetime gaming with Mr. Boomstick there. By the way, go sub to Double Barrel Gaming, please. When I was talking to him, when we were doing those shows, I said the one weapon that wins every war, every battle, everything is mind share. If you get people talking about it, and that's what gets people. Helldivers 2, not the greatest game, but people started talking about it, and then everybody started. I don't
think that game's very great at all, but yeah, people love it.
It's fun,
and I love that they love it.
Like I played it with, also shout out to Noof Nukem. I was playing with him yesterday and my wife, the three of us. So it was myself, my wife, and Noof, and we were all playing. And we had a blast. We had a great time. But it's not earth shattering. It's just fun, and we had a great time. We had a couple laughs, a whole lot of dirty jokes thrown in there for and whatever. And we just did whatever we did, and we had a good time. But the thing is, it was in the mind share of the people for like a month, 6 weeks even, right? And then instead of going down, like when a game comes out or a movie or whatever, you've always got the rise, then you've got the plateau, and then the drop off, right? And I mean, look at Hollywood. The average drop off of a film is anywhere upwards of 55 to 67% in the first week alone.
Yeah.
Right? So like you get the movie comes out and all of a sudden by the next week, 55 to 67% drop off. Right? So video games, same thing. That game kept going up. It was doing the impossible because why? Mind share. And Elden Ring, same thing. Look at all the people who have never touched a Souls game in their entire lives, went out and bought Elden Ring and played it and beat it and put hundreds of hours into it, whatever, and slowly started to learn how these games operate, whatever else. It was all because of that mind share, and of course the talking points, podcasts, influencers, more influencers than media, because media's kind of dropped off. I think that influencers and YouTubers have taken over from media more so than anything. And,
well, now IGN owns every single outlet that ever was like.
Well, and that's horrifying because, like, to me, that's the same as Microsoft gobbling up every developer on the planet. That's not a good thing because then
IGN owns Digital Foundry. Everybody.
Well, the thing is Yeah, well, the thing is, though, at the end of the day, you know what, I would sell too. If they're throwing millions of dollars at me, I'd be like, yeah, sure, take me. I don't care. I'm gonna go take my golden parachute and get the hell out. And
But they're
I would
just
have no
gonna
problem.
buy IGN's just gonna buy them to close the mag.
Well, the thing is, what they are gonna do. First of all, they are gonna have mass layoffs. That's obvious. But the next thing is, you get this hive mind of the way IGN thinks. Now they're all gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
They don't have balls like us. Like someone said that one of those scumbags, I think is Pong Solo. Not Pong Soul. I love Pong Solo. He's a great guy. I haven't talked to him in a long time, though. There's that other guy. He's like, oh, I can't wait for Mag to go on Crossfire and shit all over Hellblade 2. And I'm like, why would I do that? I enjoyed the game.
That's because people only see things one way, Mag.
They only see one way because I've had people
They deal in absolutes.
Mag says that, yeah, and only a Sith deals in absolutes.
You know what somebody said when you said that the other day? When you said it on the podcast, somebody goes, but Mag, your statement is an absolute statement. Only
well,
Siths
that's true.
deal in absolutes.
Well,
it's a paradox.
I guess I'm the Phantom Menace, aren't I? I guess I'm the Emperor.
You were the chosen. You were supposed to be the chosen one.
No, I'm not the chosen one. I'm the Emperor. I'm still kicking. I'm calling the shots. Anyways, the thing is that when I say something on, let's say, oh, Mag says something on XNC, and then he says something totally different on Crossfire, biggity blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, I don't. Actually, I say the same thing I say on this show. Actually, someone reached out to me and said, I can't believe you get away with half the crap you say about Xbox on the XNC show. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just telling my truth and how I feel about it.
It's a different...
I don't understand how people don't understand how there's
I'll
a
help
truth to
people
it.
understand. It's a different dynamic when Mag... I'll just say a hypothetical. Like when Mag says something and he's surrounded by what you'd consider ponies, like that, the reverberation of what you say bouncing off that panel comes off quite different than it would in a different place. And someone said something like months ago about what you said about Gears. I'm like, what are you someone's like, he was bashing Gears. I'm like, what are you freaking talking about? He had an amazing idea for pushing the series forward, but it's really about how the rest of the people react or the environment that you're in where people they just assume one thing. Like someone's saying, I'm going to give the game a 10 out of 10 because it's Xbox, because they only know one thing. They only converse with people who are completely biased. They only look through someone of the lens that they're completely biased. And I've only reviewed few games. One game that I got wrong in reviews was Crackdown 3. I loved the game. I gave it a 78 out of 100. I loved it. It didn't do enough for it to push it up, like, right? And that game's a 60 on OpenCritic. And I gave it a 78, but the rest of my reviews are like right there. I know, we both love it, right?
I love Crackdown. The Crackdown 3 was so much fun, like throwing those cars and stuff. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good game. I thought it was fun. And there's people in the chat who probably also say that they loved Crackdown, but people saying that I'm going to give a game a biased review, I gave Halo Infinite and Gears 5 9s, which they're really close to that. They're like an 85 or 86. I gave it doesn't matter. They're all there. You can check them out.
Yeah.
Like I've been saying, Mag, it's just easier to give. It's easier to just criticize where it needs to be and just get it out there.
Yeah.
Like Xbox isn't gonna blacklist me because I give their new hot game Hellblade 2 an 85. Come on now. And why would I care? Like they're not gonna blacklist somebody for giving a bad review, and that none of that matters. What matters to me is for me to give you guys what I feel on a game. So if you can follow along the train and listen to what I have to say, not that kind of train, Meg, but if you can follow along and say, you know what, I like a lot of things that Colt's saying, like Fonz and I were on the phone. Fonz was like trying to convince me that the game was not good. And I said, and he's like, don't be mad at me. I'm like, dude, I'm not mad at you. I already told you, I like the game. I'll never play it again. I'm moving on. I did a review. I'm proud of the review. But he's like, you know, it's a mid game. I go, it's literally not a mid game. I left this up on purpose. You can't see it, but my face is blazing white from the white screen of Metacritic. I sat here on the phone with him and I counted the reviews. Remember how you said take away 10 reviews and you get, are you ready for this? I'll do this quickly.
Take away the top. Yep.
Take away the top 10. I said, here are the reviews that are above 90 on Metacritic. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, I got to get, that's not the whole thing. Hold on. View all. Sorry, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 are at 100. 98, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 were in the 93s. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. 42 reviews out of 85 are 90 to 100. And I said, I'm sorry, Fonz. What that tells me is Hellblade 2 was given really high 9s and 10s from half of the people, and then the mixed ones are really low. So there was there wasn't a lot of 7s and 8s, Mag. There were a ton of 9s and 10s, and then a couple of 6s and a 45. And that's why the game's at an 82. Holy crap. Let me get these supers.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you for your permission, Mag. You're amazing. Hey, Mag, I just want to say I appreciate you, bro. I really enjoyed doing the show with you. And
we're having a good time, man. Thank you for having me on here for the last almost 15 months now. My goodness.
Yeah, and we're really fortunate. We have an amazing audience in chat. Hit the like button if you're checking out the show. This is the XC Podcast. We're on episode 150, and we're on the other podcast platforms. You want to listen to the show at your leisure while you're driving or mowing the lawn or shoveling the driveway, depending on where you live. 9 Lives, 210. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Says, imagine being mad that the sequel is like the first game. I should have read that earlier because it folded into what we were saying from the last super chat, but 9 Lives, shout out. Like I said, I keep doing more beyond the sequel, and we're all good. We got a question from Code 3 who says, you're the best. Should Metacritic remove outliers like Metro's review? Nah. And they need to get scolded for what they said about the mental health aspect in their review. I didn't read Metro's review because I've been told many times. Right.
Well, actually, didn't they? I heard they score. Did they score it well, or was it Euro?
They scored it a 5 out of 10, and then apparently, I don't know anything about this. I didn't read. I don't care. I don't give a flying fudge about their opinion because they are just rage baiters.
Well, yeah. I mean, they did say that.
Is that a real term?
I don't know. It sounded kind of sexual, but
for my friends that live in the UK, and if you're here and it's like 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, thank you if you're here. We appreciate you a lot. They have told me many times that Metro is what they line the cages with for their birds over there. It's a garbage-free newspaper that you see laying on the train or on the tube ground or on the ground in front of the tube. It's just a garbage newspaper that no one reads, no one cares. And they're on Metacritic. I'll tell you this, Code, if you're still here. Sorry, I'm getting to this just now. If you get a few outlets that score it low, that is the name of the game. And I actually think it lines up great with what Mag said. If you have a couple of low ones, it also kind of helps even out the way too high scores.
Way too high scores.
You don't give
Noisy.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say Noisy Mofo. I gave it an 8.
And you're not even done.
I gave Hellblade 2 an 8. Yeah, I know I'm literally on the last, I'm literally like 30 minutes from the end, but I had to come on the show. So no, I'm basically done. So the score's not going to change. I did have my not complaints. I'm just going to say my criticisms about it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I got to say that I took almost a full point off just for the first hour. The first hour was, ironically, I looked at the Metro score while you were talking, and the first thing they said, the game is a slog. The first hour of the game, I would have absolutely agreed with them. I'm like, this first hour is just like, I was falling asleep. And I'm like, well, if this was Xbox's chance, they're certainly losing it. And then the game picked up after the second chapter.
I agree with you. They should have.
The third chapter was amazing. And then it just went, and I was good for there. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm just, we can always, like, hindsight's 2020, right?
Sure.
You start off on a boat and then you kind of get off the boat and the game starts walking around, right? Why not have like a really big fight on the thrashing boat and show you the combat there? I mean, it wasn't really
like something,
something to kind of kick it off. Like that's the formula. Yeah.
Well, King, I see King Hell here. I was going to say, what you were saying there is like the game looks too boring to try. That's fair too. You have absolutely, you know what I mean? Everybody has the right to feel however they want about it, whether they like, this is for me or this is not for me. What I do not like are the gatekeepers who are so militant that you can't even criticize anything, and they're freaking the F out, calling you a pony and calling you this and calling you that, whatever else. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I think that everybody has the right to feel how I want. One of the super chats that you got coming up, I know you're going to see it, is he obviously did not like the game. And that's fair too.
Yeah, it's coming up.
That's fair too. I'm not going to make fun of him. I'm not going to call him names. I'll say, that's your opinion, no problem. And that's what opinions are for. So that everybody has one, and you have the right to feel however you want about it.
I'll give my opinion right before I read that one so they understand. Maxi Coleman, thank you so much for the ARS 50. They said, if our podcaster won't put a 10 out of 10 on our games, we will never build a narrative like they have. I don't know. I don't know what he means, our podcaster.
I think I understand what he's talking about. I think in context, I think he's talking about like how the PlayStation podcast gave all the games 10 out of 10s all the time, sort of built hype around the games or whatever. However, to be fair, a lot of those games that they were hyping at that last generation going into this generation were not 10 out of 10s, but they were pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's face it, they won Game of the Year over and over, all those games that people were talking about. So
yeah, and PlayStation has the PlayStation Tavern and PlayStation Ball Pit, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They all have their own outlets that kind of sit there with the 100 out of 100. But come on, Hellblade 2 is not 100 out of 100.
But those games back it up too. Like the game, it's not like just the people talking trash going, "Oh, this is the best thing ever." Blah blah blah. I didn't see anybody hyping up Foam Stars. Maybe if there was anybody.
No, they were. They were.
Get out of here.
There were people hyping up Foam Stars and Destruction All Stars, and I thought Destruction All Stars would be cool. But yeah, and there's people hyping up Bleeding Edge and stuff like that, and whatever. It's normal.
Games. But a lot of those games that whatever. Anyway, let's not get into that.
But it's fine to be excited about a game, and then when you get hands on, maybe it's not as amazing. This next one from Lotus Esprit. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. What game was I going to say? Okay, here's a game everyone loves, and I didn't like it. Hades. I tried to play it. I just didn't like it, but I kept my mouth shut because I just said, hey, I didn't really like it. I didn't like the loop, but everyone loves it, and that's just how it is. Lotus Esprit, thank you so much for the super, says, I agree with Dreamcast guy for the first time. Hellblade 2 is an annoying dumpster fire. This game does not excite me for the future of Xbox. Well, Lotus, the good thing is Ninja Theory is just one studio, and there is nothing else in their pipeline that is like Hellblade whatsoever. And I would really hope that Ninja Theory, I would think that they are going to seriously consider what their next project is. I know that they've been greenlit for Hellblade 2 or 3 because they said this is our second chapter. This was actually a topic on the list. I mean, we'll talk about it for a minute, but the head of the studio put out this thank you, everyone, and the PlayStation fanboys hopped on it and thought, oh my gosh, they're going to shut down the studio. Everything's doomed. But if sales are low, which Mag and I are predicting, they will be considering probably working on something different and wait and come back to Hellblade 2 in a few years. I don't know. So,
you talking about Ninja Theory?
Yeah,
I know that they started working on. they were always kind of tinkering with Project Mara, but they're putting more of a focus on it. But I can't see I can't see the entire studio working on that. I could see maybe let's say they branch off 8 to 10 people to work on that game, overseen by the project manager. But other than that, they're working on something else. I think that's going to make a bigger splash.
Yeah, and Heavenly Sword or Enslaved or something in that vein is probably where they need to go next, because that Enslaved gameplay that I played today was they could do something like this and crank it up the extra 25%, and I think we'd all be pretty happy. We've got Danny Passion Official with another one. Thank you for the 5. Says, I compare Hellblade 2 with a Plague's Tale game series. In both games, the combat is just an add-on. Cinematic storytelling is the meat of these games. Well, the problem with Hellblade compared to Plague's Tale is Plague's Tale has 7 or 8 different gameplay mechanics within it that are continually in a loop. You have the stealth, you have distraction, you have takedowns, you have environmental puzzles, environmental takedown thing where you can trigger things. You have the rats that you have to there's a whole thing, right? Mag, you've played the games.
Yeah,
it does much more than Hellblade. And but the problem is Plague's Tale Requiem, the second one. I love the first one to death. I just can't get into the second one. I don't know what it is, and maybe I need to.
You know what? You're not wrong. I actually really, really liked the first one. I played it on Game Pass years ago. I love the first game. I did not like the second game. I didn't get past the first 2 hours.
Why? It literally does nothing worse. It's a little bit better. It actually lets you take down more enemies, but I just felt like I just did it because I think I beat the game a year after it came out. So it was 2 years later, Plague's Tale Requiem comes out, and I'm like,
it didn't do anything for me. It didn't do anything for me, actually. I didn't enjoy it.
Let us know, audience and chat, what you thought of Plague Tale Requiem. I thought most people loved it, but maybe Mag and I are the outliers. Biff Rinaldi.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got you right here, Mag, so I can make sure I don't interrupt you. But, you know,
You like
speak.
Hot Fudge Sundays? All right.
Permission to speak, sir! I'm sorry. It's kind of an odd day. I know that a lot of people might not want to be sitting here listening to Hellblade 2. They'd rather be playing it, or they don't want, you know, anything spoiled, which I think we've done an okay job today. But
we haven't spoiled a damn thing.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys so much.
Although one guy in the chat got pissed at me because I said, when you're looking for collectibles, listen to Senua's voices, because they literally tell you to go look at a corner. They're like, go look over there, whatever.
Yeah.
And some guy's like, Mag, spoilers. And I'm like, how is that a spoiler?
Okay, it's not, but I've seen so many people say when I put a review together, like, I love your content, Colt, but I will not be watching. I don't even want to see gameplay at all. Like, I've avoided the trailers and everything. Like, there are people that are that sacrosanct when it comes to spoilers.
That's
and
fine.
so
the good thing is they'll watch your video by tomorrow, because they'll probably finish the game by today. Because I mean, if you sit down and play it 5 hours, it's not that long. I mean, you know,
5 hours. Is it really taking you 5 hours?
Well, it took. Yeah,
I was around 7 or 8. I have my playtime just 22, but there's times when I walk off and leave it paused and come back.
I'm coming closer to 6. Closer to 6, and the reason why is because for 20 minutes, remember I was telling you I was looking at one of those looking puzzles, and I did 2 out of 3, and I literally didn't know that you can open doors. Like, because there was
right. Oh, that's way in.
Yeah. There's a bunch of like cottages like on the right hand side, and in order to access like the viewing area or whatever the hell you want to call it, to get one of those stuff, you had to go through the door of one of those cottages and walk to the back and walk out through the back door, and then there's a backyard area, and then from that angle you could see what you needed to see, right? You know, it took me 20 minutes to realize I could open a door, and I'm sitting there going, what am I missing?
Yeah.
Right? I'm freaking out. And then I pressed pause. I was so pissed off. I pressed pause, and then I went, oh. Because then I looked, because you know when you press pause, you see that it shows you the controller, and it shows you the controls. And it says interact. And I'm like, oh, for Christ's sake. So then I walked up to the door, and I pressed interact, and I'm like, are you kidding me? She opened the door and went inside. That's the only reason why. Otherwise, I could easily finish under 6. Anyways, carry on.
Yeah, I did the same thing with the door, like right toward the end. I'm like, oh. I walk up the door and went, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to go in there. And I turn around. I'm like, wait a minute. Press A. Open the door. We got Biff Rinaldi with a $5 super. This one's fantastic. Are you ready for this one, Mag?
Yes.
Rand and Zocker made videos, wondered if I'd skip universes this morning. You know, it really is. It really is telling that my good friends Rand and Zocker have literally sat there. Yes, crickets. They've sat there for the better part of 6 or 8 months, refusing to comment, report, give their opinion in videos outside of podcast stuff for Rand on ABK, shutdowns, multi-platform strategy, new games being announced, layoffs, like all this stuff. They're like, oh, there's no news to make videos. You know, I was like, I've been making videos as much as I can. And Rand's like, oh, there's a game I really like. I'm going to make a review. And I'm like, bro, I've been telling you every week. So if you're a fan of Randall Thor, I've been working on him every week to make content, and so has Jez Corden. And you know what? YouTube is fun. It could be work, but get out there. Get out there and make some content for your subscribers, man. For reals. Biff, we got Highlander 001. That was a really rude thing I said, but gosh darn it. Like, we're all working together. Make videos. We can all share our stuff. People can go watch their video, then go watch mine, and let's all just let's talk about the gaming news. Let's get out there and open our mouths. Highlander 001, his channel member for 22 months, says, today is my 55th birthday. I got a surround sound headset and a sound bar, and it works great with Hellblade 2.
Excellent.
Give Hellblade 2 an 85. What are you gonna give it an 85 before you're done? But happy birthday, Highlander. My good friend Red Wolf, thank you so much for the super chat. Save your money, Red Wolf. He's put together a big PC we've talked about today on the phone. Shout out to him and the Renegade Realm podcast. They missed today because he's under the weather. He says, Playing Hellblade 2 right now. Wow, I am utterly blown away with the fidelity. Going into photo mode. Photo mode.
Really, the Jurassic Park theme? Yes.
Oh yeah, that's what I do. And then I go photo mode. You got to put the modulation in there. Seeing every little wrinkle, eyeball vein, etc. Incredible. And he says, an absolute must play, 100% flex, and this emoji. Dude, I had to do that once for a picture.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
people still make fun of you. You know that, right?
Yes, I am anti this. I don't like it. I think it's cringy. But when we were at the we were having breakfast in LA 2 years ago, and Aaron Greenberg came by and was like, "Aaron, come join us." And he sat down. No, just come hang out with us because we were just finished eating. And he hung out with us. He's like, "Can we get a picture?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Can we do the?" And I was like, "What am I gonna do?" Like, go.
No, you do whatever Greenberg tells you to do.
Yeah, yeah. He's like.
He seems like a cool. Yeah, he seems like a cool guy. He looks like
he was cool. Like I wasn't gonna be like, I don't. It's kind of lame, but I was like,
yeah. Well, you did it anyway, Colt, and people are still talking about it. And let me tell you a reason why. Because I'm listening to podcasts, right? Random ass like podcasts or whatever, and then all of a sudden they don't say it by name. Yeah, right. They don't even say it by name, but I hear it's like, I'm not a shill. I'm not the kind of guy that does X signs while I'm eating breakfast. And I'm going, hey, he's talking about Colteastwood. And I always start laughing because I'm like, oh my God, Colt eating breakfast. But you did it.
X marks the spot.
It's too late. The whole world knows.
It's too late to turn back now.
Yep.
Speaking of that, Hargeet Chani, it's Hargeet Chani's fault. He was there, and he's like, "Hey, Greenberg, hey Greenie, can we do the X?" I'm like, "Hargeet, no."
Yeah, it was Hargeet. You should have. Yep. You should have done a wrestling move.
There's a podcast that's gonna talk about me.
You should have grabbed Hargeet by the beard and done like a wrestling snapmare over your shoulder, and like snap him right over your shoulder. And
he's
flip
like
him on the ground, and then elbow drop him. Yeah, right off the chair. Right in front of Greenberg, and then look at Greenberg and say, "You're next."
No, actually, what happened was Greenberg's like, "Can we do the X?" I'm like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah, I'll pay for your eggs.
Did you wash your eggs today?
Yeah, exactly. Preston, what are you talking about? Preston's comment got blocked.
Hold on, where? I'm sorry, I've been off kilter here for a minute. Do I want to see it or what?
Because you're all a little lame as we are.
Hargeet goes, it was not me.
Hargeet's still in the chat, eh? Okay.
Yeah.
I said, you would have done that move, like the 80s move, the snapmare, the one where you flip him over the shoulder, right by the beard, and then elbow him right off the table. Done. Eggs flying everywhere.
You give him the old Senua Saga, body slam.
Jesus, yeah. I was gonna say, what are you gonna do? Stab him in the collarbone? Come on, Colt, take it easy, man.
Give Hargeet the old.
Oh God, I gotta tell you, some of those things I'm not gonna talk about it because
look who's in the chat. It's Bland. It's Bland Al. Wait 8 months to make a video. Al Thor 19 Metacritic. Bro,
I'm glad Rand is here. Because,
hey Rand, turn on your camera and do this.
Yeah. he probably just woke up because he's gonna game till 7 a.m. Yeah.
He's like, what year is it?
Yeah.
He's like, is it still 82 Metacritical clock? Yeah, it's still 82 Metacritic.
It's still there.
Rand goes, how'd you get that code? So
yeah.
Can I tell you this story since you probably missed this? When Starfield was getting review codes out to influencers, Lord Attic got it, Rand got it, some other people got it, and I'm like, I've got like 2 more subscribers than Rand. Like, how in the heck did he get the code? And I was on vacation. We were at the beach with my family, and I'm like, hopefully they don't send out the Starfield codes while I'm on vacation because I can't play. And we are on our way home from the beach, I think. And I see Lord Attic like, just got my Starfield code. Just excited to play the Starfield. Gonna put on the space helmet. Gonna go around. I'm so angry. And I'm like, he got a code and then ran.
Why does it sound like Kermit the Frog?
It's back where he came from. He goes, He goes, I got the code for Starfield, and then I see Rand post, oh, I'm so excited, I got my Starfield code, and I'm checking my phone, see if I got an email from Bethesda. Nothing. And I text Rand while I'm in the car. How did you get that code? Rand says, this is exactly how he read it. Bling. How'd you get that code? How? How the hell did you get that code?
Did you
Tell
do
me.
Did you do the Batman?
Tell me I got the
thing?
code.
Did you hang Randall Thor upside down to the side of the building? You drag him up, and then when he looks at you upside down, you go, "How did you get the code for the?"
Tell me you got the code, you son of a biscuit. Tell me you got the code.
And I'm holding him over the building, shaking him by the shirt.
Where's the trigger? Where's the trigger? Yeah, yeah. Anyways,
Swear to me.
yeah,
Yeah, give me the code.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, it was a whole thing, and I got the code like 2 days later. But I was sweating during that
See what
sucker.
you freak out about? What the hell? That was a big deal. It happened.
It happened, yeah. But in the moment, Hargy Chani, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, interesting that Helldivers 2 didn't sell PS5s though. I guess that didn't move the needle either. Well, Hargy, it did sell PS5s really well. I think they had an uptick during the Helldivers era, which is still kind of going. I think it did move the needle, didn't it, Mag?
Sorry, what was the super chat? I was looking for it. I wanted.
Helldivers 2. Hargy says Helldivers 2 didn't sell PS5s. I think it did. I think they had an uptick, if I remember right.
I mean, it was also around the time that Final Fantasy came out. So it could have been either or, because they both scored well. I know it didn't sell a lot. I know Final Fantasy didn't like break the bank or anything, but I think that did well. Right? It wasn't around the same time.
And I think that like 60 to 70% of the sales were on PC, which means PS5 PS5 still sold a lot of Helldivers codes or keys. Or
yeah, they did all right. Yeah.
Hargy says PS5 sales are down 29%. Well, everybody's are, but I think they did see an uptick. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure they did. Because if I was going to say, hey, I agree, Hargy, they didn't, I would think I'm probably wrong. Because that game was so popular that they had, maybe they were just in such a low spot that Helldivers didn't matter. I don't know. According to Matt Piscatella, in NPD at least, they both did really, really well. So obviously, if it wasn't for PC, Helldivers would not be as big as it was, no matter what we say, right?
Sure,
So,
yeah.
I'm just surprised I'm actually saying Helldivers when I'm supposed to. We've got Code 3. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Must have got it to work. It wasn't working earlier. There's a gnat in here or something. Like trying to slap Mag. Says, I mean, it would go both ways, high and low score. Yeah, talking about Metacritic. Yeah, the highest and the lowest. I think Meg and I agree. Kick out the highest and the lowest. And I mean, but Metacritic already does that. It already takes the mean average and gives you where everybody collectively is sitting. So you don't need to kick them out.
No, but what I'm talking about is when you read them. If you're reading,
or if you put up the, like Clobro put out a graphic, like the scores for Hellblade 2. And if you just put the 40 review scores on the graphic, it looks like 9s and 10s. Like, and what do they call it? The accolades graphic. So yeah, I mean, but I mean, if you look at a graphic and it has all these 9s and 10s and you go look at Metacritic or OpenCritic and it's at 82 or 83, you're like, hey, that's not that far off.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, it's getting late. Okay, what I might do is I might let you go and cover the rest of the topics without you. I did not realize how late it is.
You got a couple more super chats. I want to hear.
Okay, I'll read those. And then we'll move to the. So Yugai Kizada with the $2 super chat says, Mag looks like he washes his chicken with Dawn.
What? First of all, I don't wash my chicken at all because the stuff that I get are top quality. That's the first thing. The second of all, if you actually rewind, if you want to call it rewind, if you want to scroll back to the beginning of the show, you'll see that I had a live chicken in my arms because my cat jumped up on me. And of course, being my hairless sphinx, everybody's like, dude, you have a raw chicken sitting on your lap.
I see.
Colt, if you go watch the first 5 minutes of this show, Go back and watch it, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, Gizmo. I have two African Sphinx.
Okay.
Egyptian. Well, they're Egyptian to be precise, but Egyptian Sphinx. And one of them jumped up on my lap in the middle of the show. And he was like this. He's like, "Hey, what's going on here?"
I missed that, and I used to try to keep the feed up. But...
He looked around for like about a minute, and then he jumped off me, and then he never came back. But he wanted to see what was going on. Well, when he sees me doing something, he's like, he needs to get involved, right? So, anyways, sorry. Thanks, Donnie. Thanks, Donnie.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Donnie. I'm gonna try that. I guess you don't have to worry about
well, if I'm gonna
salmonella poisoning if you wash your chicken with Dawn Power Wash.
The thing is, yeah, and like I mean, you want to wash it with something nice, so at least your chicken smells like lilac when you cook it, right? So that'd be nice. Yeah. Nice flowery scent.
Gross. Then you don't have to put any herbs or spices.
Yeah.
Series Z gaming channel. What?
I was gonna say, and you don't have to go to work the next day because you'll probably be dead. So hey, that's a bonus, right?
Did you see those people that were cooking chicken breasts with the blue NyQuil, the blueberry NyQuil?
Oh my God. I did hear about it. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Yeah.
I mean, doctors said like you could die. You'll die doing that.
Well, yeah. Why do stupid things? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right?
You got to thin out the herd a little bit, right?
Well, it's usually the way it goes, yeah.
Series Z gaming channel. Thank you so much for the Australian $3. Appreciate you checking into the show early in the morning over there, or early in the afternoon. Says, do you think an 82 meta is good for Hellblade 2? Yeah, but we wanted good, great.
I actually thought it was going to be higher. I thought it was going to be an 86. My call was an 86. I was shocked when I saw that it was sitting at an 81 for the literally 90% of the day. It sat at an 81 for both PC and
it did
for Xbox. Yeah, and then it went up to 82 just before we went live.
Oh, 81. I'm sorry. I thought you said 91.
No. 81. It was, and the thing is, what I found interesting, because when I got up this morning, the first thing I did on my way to work, I was looking at it, and I'm like, okay, well, 81 on Xbox. I'm like, that's lower than I expected. But then I'm like, I bet you the PC's higher because maybe the performance is better. But then I looked and I saw that PC was the same thing. And then, of course, actually playing the game and almost finishing the game, I was like, oh, wait a minute. The performance on PC was
it doesn't change
the FPS. I don't think it really changes much from the 30 FPS considering the type of game it is, right? So
yeah, it doesn't change. It doesn't make the game any better. Like, you don't lose an experience. I can't believe I say it, but you don't really lose much at all in the experience.
Notice it. Starfield, to me, was a travesty at 30 FPS. I couldn't play it. It was like I was dancing in an 80s nightclub with a strobe light on. I was like...
It just it doled it down so much, Starfield, at 30 frames. I mean, I played it so much of it that way, but
that was a make or break for me, man. And that was a break for me. And I'm like,
such a lie that it was a creative decision.
Well, what a whole, yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't want to get into that, but it's that was a make or break for me for Starfield. But this game at 30 literally did not affect the experience at all for me, at all.
Yeah.
So I will stand by that. I mean, some people might call me a fraud for that, but call me whatever you want. I just think that because of the different style of game that you're playing, it had no effect on me whatsoever. That the fact that it was running at 30. So, and it was just fine. Anyways, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking about staying later to talk about the discussions, but some of the stuff I wanted to cover were Assassin's Creed, and I don't want to do that solo. I'd rather have that conversation with you, and that's probably passing by next week. I don't know. Maybe if it's still talked about next week.
That story ain't going anywhere. Yeah. So it'll be
I'm excited either way. So, Meg, I appreciate you. You're going to, tonight or maybe tomorrow, you'll finish Hellblade and then move on and
I literally have 30. I literally have 30 minutes left, and then I'm back to AC Mirage to finish that one up, and then I'm on to Dying Light 2. And what else did I get? What the hell's it called? Evil West? No, not Evil West.
From last year?
It's like you're a cowboy.
Evil West. Evil West.
Is it Evil West? You're a cowboy hunting vampires.
Play it on easy.
Like they did it. They had it for Game Pass and it's for PlayStation. They gave it away for free for PlayStation Plus, and it's on Game Pass. It's a
cool game. Like, you're not going to waste your time playing it, but play it on easy. There's no reason to challenge yourself because it's not such a good game that you need to do that. So if you play it on easy, you can just like enjoy the punchy combat and then the different things you do in the game. We'll see if you stick with it. I'm glad I played it, but it's I'll never touch it again.
Yeah,
I would give that
fair
game
enough,
like a
fair
6
enough.
or 7. But
Well, I mean, I got it for free, so I mean, it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. I'm gonna, it's gonna be in the mix, so I'm gonna put
Yeah.
it in the mix. But yeah. Anyways,
I'm probably going to be playing Enslaved Odyssey the West, but I actually think that will be a really good game to save for some plane flights coming up. We'll see how that kind of works out. Cool Francis 19, thank you so much for the $5 super. 2 weeks ago, Colt said he'd touch on some PlayStation stuff he's heard about last week, but never did. Maybe he forgot. Will you touch on it this week? PlayStation stuff? I don't remember.
well, if it helps, I don't have any PlayStation stuff.
I mean, I did mistakenly say that I would be covering some emails I got. One of them was the review for Hellblade, and they did not even allow me to say I was playing the game until Friday, I think it was, days and days after XNC. The other email is still outstanding about an invite I got, which is really cool, and I still can't talk about it. I'll possibly be heading out of town mid next week after XNC. But yeah, I'm like, where is the heck what's the update on that? So yeah, I hate that that just shocked me that stuff wasn't available to talk about. And that makes me upset when Xbox is like, don't tell anyone you're playing the game until like 3 days before. It's like, what the F are you doing? Like, we are literally your marketing arm because you do nothing. You had this big marketing push that was 1 week before. Your marketing is tweeting out other people's positive posts. Like, let us do what we do for our audience. Let us get excited. Oh gosh, it drives me crazy. So yeah, I'll be doing that this week, and I'll give you guys an update. And let me know in the comment section as you play the game and after the video post what you think of Hellblade 2 as you get time with it. Mag, let's get out of here. It's been a quiet day. We appreciate you showing up. Hit the like button on your way out. We'll see you next week, regular time for Monday for episode 151. Mag, any last words before we go?
No. I look forward to the show next week, man. We'll have more to talk about, and I'm sure there'll be more news and more drama and more things to have discussions about. But chat, you guys are amazing as always. Thank you for rocking with us on an off day, we'll call it. But we wanted to do it because we wanted to get our Hellblade 2 thoughts and feelings out there and review. So yeah, glad you guys all joined us, and then we look forward to you guys all being there regular time next Monday, 8 p.m.
All right, see you guys later. Have a good one.
All right,
We'll see you
good
next
night.
week.